home soil. However, CRB want to celebrate victory on their flight back to Algeria. This is the CAF Confederation Cup. Stellenbosch FC versus CR Belouizdad this Sunday, 1 February at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC2. Also available on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365, Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za.
Every day, Rand Water's underground pipelines run through servitudes across the country, carrying millions of liters of water to our communities. But when people build too close, it's called encroachment, and it's very dangerous. If a pipeline bursts, it can flood homes, destroy property, and in many cases, people lose their lives. That's why Rand Water marks its servitudes with blue and white beacons, a clear warning to stay clear and safe. When we protect Rand Water's servitudes, we protect our communities too. Rand Water, finding new ways.
Hey, want to check your TV license balance conveniently? Look no further. Our SMS service allows you to do just that. By sending a message containing your ID or TV license number to 44210, you can quickly access your balance without needing multiple inquiries or waiting on hold. Plus, standard SMS rates apply. Take advantage of this efficient method to stay informed and streamline your payment process today. T's and C's apply.
The Talking Point with Kathy Motlatlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
When you smile, it boosts a good hormone called endorphins into your brain, which makes you happy. And it also reduces cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Smiling is the cheapest therapy there is. Just try it right now, it's really good for you. Smiling is an attractive expression. I'm stressing about this tonight. Have you ever been in a situation where you started perceiving someone differently, more beautifully, after you've seen them smile? I rest my case. Smiling makes you happier. Chances are you haven't thought about how smiling can affect your physical appearance, your mental health, your stress levels, your energy levels, and the way other people see you. Maybe you're self-conscious about your teeth and you don't want to smile. That happens. Take the chance to take the bull by its horns, to paint the blank canvas that is your life. Smile at the stranger you find attractive. Smile at your enemy. Smile at your parents. Smile to yourself, because it makes every single one of you beautiful. To quote Mary Mark Dante, an activist, "You don't understand the value of your smile until it's taken away from you."
Danielle Popov, a 21-year-old journalist, grew up in Shanghai, currently living in Toronto. You don't understand how beautiful your smile is until it is taken away from you. So please smile. 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 Don't be grumpy. Don't be those people that are grumpy for no reason. Early in the morning, you get to the office. Oh, grumpy nje. Unexplained grumpiness. Smile. In the shopping center, we hit you accidentally with the trolley. You want to take us down. Smile. Smile. It's 11 after 9 o'clock. Welcome to the Talking Point. My name is Kathy Mutlahlana, and I'll be with you until midday as we lead conversations that move us. And of course, always a pleasure and an honor being able to be in this chair with you. All right, so coming up on the show today, we'll start off with the open line as we always do. And I'll be taking your calls for the national roundtable. And of course, remember, it's your opportunity to raise any matter that you believe is of national interest. It's your opportunity to weigh in, to give your own analysis of some of the developments we're seeing in our country and beyond. The number to use this morning, 086 000 2032. That's 086 000 2032. On the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107. That's 0614 104 107 for the WhatsApp voice note and text message line. On X, it's at SAFM, the hashtag there, SAFM Talking Point. So coming up on the show this morning, then we'll start off with the open line, and then we will take you to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, which yesterday began hearing evidence from two witnesses, Major General Anthony Gopal and also Witness E, who's an undercover intelligence operative. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, right? So let me just give you a rundown of what's coming up on the show. So we'll take you to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. At 10 o'clock, we will continue with finance. Within the 10 o'clock hour, we'll do personal finance with Brian Hirsch. And today, given that it is the last Tuesday of the month, the last Tuesday of January. So this week we're saying goodbye to January. So Brian then will be taking your questions that we were unable to get to. And I must apologize. Last week we had so many questions last week, and I feel that we really did not do our listeners a full service in terms of being able to answer those questions. So today then the entire hour is just dedicated to questions for Brian, and we'll deal with that in the second hour of the show. And then for the final hour, we'll take a look at what is unfolding at the ad hoc committee, the public participation process for the ad hoc committee entering its oral hearing phase. And so they'll be hearing evidence from civil society organizations and individuals. These are organizations and individuals who've written to the committee, making submissions on various issues. And today they'll start hearing that evidence. And so we'll take you live there. And I think this is quite interesting, right? Because the voice of the public is elevated in such a significant way. And that's why we'll always talk about the power of organizing, the power of getting involved, right? Because when you are organized and when you are clear about the sectors or the spheres of governance that you want to be actively involved in, this is ultimately how you create opportunity for yourself to have a meaningful voice, right? And these organizations, they've done that, and these individuals have done that. So they didn't just look and complain, right? They didn't stop there. They actually wrote to Parliament. They wanted their voice heard and represented. And today we'll hear some of those submissions. I think it's going to be a really, really important morning, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the ad hoc committee is going to be dealing with that. It'll be coming up on the final hour of the show. So for the open line, I truly believe that the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday sort of, it entered new ground, because for the first time we were actually hearing very concrete allegations that speak directly to the heart of why Minister Senzo Mchunu has been suspended. And the question here is about how political authority is exercised over the country's law enforcement institutions. So previous testimony and evidence has sort of almost colluded, right, at a political oversight, ministerial oversight level. And it's been kind of difficult to really see where that line is drawn. And so one could read it and say, well, that, yes, this is subjective. Maybe this could be down to one's personal interpretation. Is there enough training for these ministers? Do they fully understand the roles that they're walking into and the organizations that they're having to provide oversight over, or that they're having to give oversight for? But what made yesterday significant, as we heard from the acting KwaZulu-Natal Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Anthony Gopal, who told the commission that the minister took an unusual and direct interest in the investigation into the killing of an ANC councillor, Pendukani Mabhida. And that engagement in particular appears to fall outside the normal boundaries of political oversight. What business does a minister have calling a deputy national commissioner about a particular investigation? How many lines of protocol have been broken? The commission also heard allegations from undercover operative Witness E, who claims he was pressured to shape his testimony. These are not minor procedural concerns. If proven, they in fact speak to potential interference in investigations and the compromising of witnesses. And these are actions that are at the heart of the rule of law. And the reason why this framing matters is because it's not primarily a question of whether the SAPS has failed. It's also a question about whether political power reached into policing in ways that it should never do. When ministers are crossing that line from policy into directly influencing cases, it speaks to the very heart of how institutions are weakened. And they're weakened because they're being interfered with. And this is potentially then what it looks like. Because you have investigators that are beginning to look over their shoulders. You have witnesses, such as Witness E, who must now go under witness protection. Why? Because they must weigh up the truth against the pressure that they are under. So where's the room for justice in all of that? Because justice now does not become at the heart of what is being pursued. Justice becomes contingent in this instance. Before the courts make a ruling on this, and even before the commission concludes, the question we are still grappling with, and that we must continue to confront, is it morally comprehensible for a minister who is facing such serious allegations to still remain in office? Is his suspension enough? Or does accountability in this moment require more than the procedural distance that has been created between himself and his office? At some point, there must be a line that is drawn. And where do we draw that line? Between political oversight and political overreach. What does ethical leadership in this instance mean or even demand? Because it is the justice system that is at stake. It is the justice system itself that is at stake. And yesterday, the evidence that was led yesterday began to give clear insight into where those lines may have been crossed. So I'll take your calls on this issue amongst the many others that you will raise on the open line. 086 000 2032 is the number to dial. On the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107.
For 90 years, one voice has informed, challenged, and connected a nation. SAFM, South Africa's national English public radio station. Established in 1936 as the SABC's very first service, the A program evolving through the English service, Radio South Africa to SAFM in 1995, shaping thought and strengthening democracy. From a full spectrum station to a trusted home of news and talk, SAFM continues to lead the conversations 90 years strong. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Call us on 086 000 2032.
All right, we start with the open line this morning in Acornhoek, Sydney. Good morning to you.
My sister can say, yes, it's me, Sydney, the level in Acornhoek district, which time allows me to call you sister because I also manage the school library, Colin Primary, here in Acornhoek. I said, my timetable, so my timetable allows me to then to call you, or to call my national radio to be specific. My sister, I should have called about this last week, but then it happened to be right. I have an issue which, on my own, I made a research since 2023 as a result of what was happening even before. Just try to find out why it is like this. Admission of new students at our local Tibet College, Madlanga Tibet College, right here in town of Acornhoek. My sister, what I have realized and I made this search is all the high schools around there, I can count more than 5. So many learners are here who performed well in their 12th, but you still see them lingering all around. When I ask them, why is it? At first I thought maybe they are just ignoring because our local Tibet is just a local Tibet college. They just want to be at the local school. Then many, their answers were just saying they don't want to admit as the locals here. I ignore them, but further, if you further ask, they don't think us here, they don't want us the locals. That's when I started to make research. And I found the element of truth that our local Tibet college here in Acornhoek, they don't admit the locals. I understand there's a central admission site, maybe at the provincial level, but maybe the sifting system at some point somewhere, they begin to sideline the locals. I then further want to search what might be the reason. Of course, even when you move around in this local town, Acornhoek, you hardly see learners from the area of Acornhoek entering that institution. Generally, are those who are from different places. You hardly find. Then I made my own research. What might be the reason? Maybe I might be wrong, but what I suspect it might be this. In this area of Acornhoek, the technical village in particular, there's a residential area. We just call it
Okay, Sydney, I'm going to ask you to speed it up, please.
Yeah, okay, right, my sister. There's heavy mushrooming of boarding rooms. Boarding rooms are all over. I think that is the main business around here. I begin to suspect maybe it's a connive, an arrangement that don't admit the locals, because if you admit the locals, then the distant ones, the locals don't occupy the boarding rooms instead. They reside at home. But the distant one, when they come, they'll definitely need accommodation. That's when it becomes a business thing. Okay. I suspect that local children or local learners, grade 12 learners that are not admitted at our local Tibet college is because they don't occupy boarding rooms. That is why they are not there.
Okay.
And I now challenge you, my sister.
Sydney, we're going to have to leave it there. We're going to have to leave it there. What you're saying, of course, is I guess, highly speculative, but it also implies that the officials who are dealing with registrations at the local college would also be the ones that are working in cahoots with these landlords, right? Because they would have to be a benefit they derive from it. Probable, maybe, Sydney, but yeah, certainly it's one of those where we'd need a little bit more to work on. But I do think that the issue of learners being unable to get admitted is something that we can raise with the Department of Higher Education as well, because it doesn't make sense, especially if you're saying the institution has more learners from elsewhere than it does from the local area. David, you're in Pietermaritzburg. Good morning.
Thank you, Teddy. Thank you, Teddy.
Yes,
for taking
David.
my call. Yeah, no, man, what is serious about the issue of South African parents, black parents, to be specific, whose kids are still not placed? We have received a report from the Minister of Education giving us the number of foreign kids who are placed in these schools. And seemingly, these parents that I'm referring to from in Joburg, Cape Town, and Durban, seemingly they are on their own. Because foundations such as Helen Suzman are only concerned about the well-being of foreigners in South Africa. They raise their voice when matters concern foreigners, but no one is calling the government to actually, especially the Department of Education, to actually tell us exactly what's the way forward. Because even today, there was a caller during the morning show who complained that their kid is still not placed, I think, in grade R in Joburg. So you can tell that there are a number of these cases, and you as media, you're also not conducting any investigation in terms of this matter to drill down in this matter and check these parents as to, more especially, for us to find out the way forward. Because now we are reaching February. Foreign kids are enjoying schooling, whereas the bona fide kids of this country are not in school. I can tell you, Kate, right now, in December, just one example, in December, Zimbabwe ring-fenced small businesses and informal businesses and said it's only for Zimbabweans. And they followed other countries like Botswana, Nigeria, Pakistan. And in our country, our government is scared to take a decisive decision. And I can tell you, if this was to happen in one of these countries, either Zimbabwe, they would have taken a decision right now, because there's no country that cannot prioritize its own people.
Yeah.
We are the one who are voting this government. And this is happening to the constituency that vote this government, because this affects only black people. There are no colored Indian or white kids that are still not placed in schools.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised, because the civil society groups like Sanko, they're quiet. My government, my organization, ANC, I'm not sure whether we still the leader of the society if such matters are happening and nothing is being said about it.
David, it's a very legitimate issue, and I guess the question is, how do you rationalize it to a South African child and explain to them that, well, you don't get to go to school? And yet I think the latest statement coming out of the Department of Education was that 250,000 young people, right, that are non-nationals are in government schools, right? If there's more than enough infrastructure, sure, but we know the challenges that the department itself is facing, which is part of why we're even in this position in the first place. What does the priority list then look like? Because whatever is done, it must be justifiable and explainable to the South African public. For now, it's 9:30. Let's take you to the latest news headlines.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, KwaZulu-Natal Hawks head Lesija Sinona is expected to answer questions on accusations of strong ties to alleged criminal kingpin Vusimuzi Cat Madlanga. Sinona has just started to testify before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria. He allegedly secured Madlanga's 360 million rand SAPS tender. The husband of lobby group March and March leader Jacinta Ngobese Zuma has confirmed a case has been opened against her. Xolani Zuma's confirmation comes after the group said she would hand herself to police in Durban. This is in connection with a charge of incitement to commit violence following the group's protests outside the Addington Primary School. And civic organisation Sanko in Gauteng has called for an urgent investigation into the ANC's election integrity. This follows the discovery of ballot papers at a house in Pretoria. I'll have details on these and other stories at 10.
30-year-old Dineo knows all about saving on her car insurance with Outsurance.
I'm saving 1,094 rands.
That's an unbelievable 1,094 rand monthly saving on Dineo's 2025 Kia Sonet. And she'll get an out bonus.
If I'm claim-free for 3 years, then I get an out bonus back.
Ready to see how much money Outsurance could save you? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
This message is brought to you by Eskom, redefining for a better future.
Hey South Africa, want to keep your lights on and save money? Let's use electricity wisely. It's easier than you think. Switch off lights when you leave a room, unplug chargers and appliances, and use energy-saving bulbs. They last longer and use less power. Every little bit helps. For your home, your wallet, and our planet.
Let's make it a habit and use electricity wisely. Eskom.
Welcome to it. This is season 1 of Playlist happening right here at Maloka, and believe me, it's a party.
Set your reminder every Friday, 9 p.m. Playlist at Maloka is in the building.
Sanibonani, dumelang, absheni, lochani, mzansi, igama lam nguzanele, untomdodwa uzinhluzalta. But you can simply call me Uzanele Mthombeni. I am your new host, Khona yi Ekaslami, the TV show that profiles some of your absolute faves, celebrities. I'm talking when an actor, musician, bona, politician, benekant, zonke bonke zikhona, and we take them to Ekasi and find out who exactly they were before all the glitz, glam, lights, cameras, and action. Oh,
Ekaslami, Tuesday at 6 on SABC 1. Mzansi for sure.
As we celebrate 90 years of existence, SAFM takes you back to the voices that shaped a nation.
Now leave the SABC and see the tower block lit up, 27 stories of light. Move from Auckland Park into the shadow of the Hillbrow Post Office Tower.
This is the English service of the SABC. Here is the news read by Patricia Carr. A member of the Planning Committee of the President's Council, Mr. Nick Tuernicht, has been appointed chairman of the Council's Community Relations Community.
90 years of trusted voices. This is SAFM. Kathy Mutlatlana is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
All right, so before we hand you over to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today, we're expecting evidence from Major General Lesija Sinona, who is the KwaZulu-Natal Hawks head. According to some of the evidence that has already been presented to the Madlanga Commission, he's likely to face questions regarding a relationship with Vusimuzi Cat Madlanga. They're also expected to probe when exactly this relationship may have started and why Sinona allegedly referred to Cat Madlanga as his older brother. the multiple other allegations around the issuing of the 360 million rand SAPS tender, the leaking of classified documents, and interference in police operations, particularly to protect Madlanga's interests, that he's expected to answer to. So let's hand you over then to the Commission.
You are listening to the Madlanga Commission, live on SAFM.
As to how many days they foresee the testimony taking. Major General Sonona was present on the 26th of November. He is present today. So he has met the subpoena. He satisfied the subpoena. His presence is here. I do not see the risk or the danger to merely cut his testimony into two parts. We have seen with many other witnesses where the testimony is cut into two parts, and we can confirm that Major General Sonona is more than willing to come back to the Commission to continue with his testimony. I do think the aspect of him receiving an extension of his leave should also be considered by the commissioners, because if he were to continue on the 28th of January, we would be placing Major General Sonona in a position of being derelict of his duties.
What's crucial in what you said, Ms. Mafisa, is that you are aware that the General is supposed to be here today and beyond for as long as is required to be here to continue with his testimony. That's very important. The General is obviously also aware of that. It was his choice to make leave arrangements just for one day. He could, and I've not heard you suggest otherwise, he could have made those arrangements to go beyond today. Why he chose to do it differently, I have no idea, and you have not explained to us why that is so. I will not be doing a back and forth. I'm now at the stage where we as this commission must make a ruling, and our ruling is going to be in accordance with what the Commissions Act provides, and also in accordance with our direction for the General's appearance. And he's required to be here until his testimony has been completed. What he does with his leave arrangements is his business, and he will have to attend to that. So the ruling is, General, you are required to be here today and tomorrow. And if tomorrow, for whatever reason, we reach a point at which we must continue beyond tomorrow, you are required to be here beyond tomorrow as well. Do you understand that?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning. I was still going to greet you properly, and I normally greet witnesses just before I administer the oath. Things started differently today, so I apologize for that. Good morning to you too. Thank you. You do understand, you say?
I do understand, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, General. Thank you, Ms. Mafisa.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. If we could then proceed to administer the oath.
General, will you be swearing or affirming?
I'll be swearing, Commissioners.
Do you swear that the evidence you're going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Major General. You've provided a statement to the Commission, together with annexures to support your statement. Can I just confirm that in file 1, that you have file 1 in front of you, that's marked statement?
Correct, Commissioners.
And can you turn to the last page of the statement, in fact, page 33 to be precise? Is that your signature?
Correct, Commissioners.
And you confirm that the contents of the statement are true and correct?
Correct, Commissioners.
And file 2 is the annexes that you've provided. Is that correct?
Correct, Commissioners.
And can I just confirm that you have certain additional files in front of you? There should be 3 exhibit files. Do you have 3 exhibit files?
I do have 3 exhibit files that I just received, Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair, I propose that I allow Major General Sonona to provide his version as he has, his oral version based on his written statement in full, with minimal interruption from me. Of course, there will be questions for clarification and so on as you provide your version from myself and from the commissioners. But Major General, I'd like to give you an opportunity to give us your full version before questioning begins. Thank you. You may begin with your statement.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. My statement on the first page, it will talk to the contents of my statement. There will be an introduction. The second one, it will be matters to be addressed. The third one, qualifications and service history. Functions of the DPCI is an abbreviation in full, is Directorate for Priority Crime Investigations. Role as a provincial head, as well as successes that we decided to depict for the purpose of this commission. You'll see number 7 is the role as the provincial head of DPCI KZN, as well as those successes, the subpoena, preliminary submissions, question 1 on the subpoena infiltration, question 2, nature of relationship with Mr. Matlala, question 3, forwarding of disbarment letter, question 4, business relationship with Mr. Matlala. Question 5, Medicare tender / contract. Question 6, message of 6 March 2025, in brackets I put Lieutenant General Mkwanazi. Question 7, forward of Ismail Molido Ramos Nangi's affidavit. Question 8, 24 April 2024, screenshot to Mr. Matlala. Number 9, question 9 is contact details of the former Minister Peggy Cele. And number 10 is Port Shepstone cocaine theft. The last one, it will be the conclusion, Commissioners.
Thank you, Major General. So if you could begin then at paragraph 6 of your statement.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. I began my years within the South African Police Services on the 18th of March 1988. I hold the following qualifications: a certificate in criminal justice education from the University of Virginia in the United States of America, a certificate on FBI National Academic Course of Instruction, a National Diploma in Police Administration from Technicon SA, a BTEC Honours in Policing from Pretoria Technicon, a Doctorate of Philosophy in Leadership Honoris Causa from Trinity International Bible University, as well as a Doctorate in Theology Honoris Causa from the Good Shepherd College of Religion.
Major General, just before you move on, just to clarify, the 2 doctorates, are those, you list them as qualifications, are those doctorates for which you defended, or are those honorary doctorates that were conferred on you?
I've just indicated, Commissioners, honoris causa. Thank you, Commissioners. Can I proceed?
Well, I suppose not everybody knows what honoris causa is. That's why the question in general would be helpful.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
So they are honorary.
It's an honorary doctorate.
Honorary. So it's an honor that was conferred, not a doctorate for which you studied. Yes.
Perhaps for the future, if you have them listed like this, even in your CV, please do not list them under qualifications. List them separately.
I've taken note, Commissioner.
Thank you.
My service history in the South African Police Services. I joined in March 1998. I was placed in the Vera Brecht SAPS, where I was a student, as a student there. And then in the month of June, we were deployed at the college in Hammanskraal until December, where I attended my basic training and I completed it in December. After completion, I was placed back at SAPS Vera Brecht. In January 1999, I was placed as a student constable detective at the same police station where I was responsible for investigations of crime. 1990, I was promoted to the rank of Lance Sergeant after I wrote the necessary, it is called examinations in order for one to be placed in that rank. So in 1992, I was promoted to the rank of a detective sergeant after I've completed my first year of study at the university, at the Technikon SA.
What's the difference between a lance sergeant and a sergeant?
The difference, commissioners, is that a lance sergeant is a junior to the sergeant.
Okay.
Even the rank insignia are different. The lance sergeant has got chevrons, and the sergeant has got chevrons and a castle.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. In 1994, I was promoted to the rank of a warrant officer. My duties from 1994 that I've performed as a detective investigator and team leader, I was placed at an area commissioner's office by then in Pretoria. My responsibilities was to track wanted suspects in the region. From 1998 to 2002, I was placed at the murder and robbery unit. At that time, our responsibilities there was the investigations of bank robberies. I think I've omitted something here, chain store robberies, as well as murders that were committed with a firearm, where at the time of reporting, the perpetrators of those crimes were unknown. In 2002, I was promoted to the rank of a captain, and I was placed also at the area commissioner's office as a task team coordinator. I coordinated the task team for housebreaking and theft of computers and wanted suspects. There were 3 task teams that we coordinated. From 2003 to 2007, I was the head of detectives. But I want to say 2003 to 2005, I was at the Valeria Detective Services, SAPS Valeria, here in Pretoria. And then from 2005 until 2007, I was head of detectives at the Silverton Police Station. 2007 to 2009, I was appointed as the program manager at the rank of a senior special investigator, Gauteng Region, Directorate of Special Operations, commonly known as the Scorpion. In 2010 to 2012, I was appointed as a colonel, as the unit commander of serious organized crime investigations in Pretoria, responsible for investigations of that nature in that region. 2012 to 2014, I think around February, I was appointed as the acting provincial commander. The rank required a brigadier, but I was a colonel, serious organized crime in DPCI Gauteng, because the incumbent at that time was deployed elsewhere to assist with the managerial responsibilities. In 2014, 2014 to 2017, I was sent back to my unit in Pretoria, Serious Organized Crime, which falls under the DPCI. Even the one I was acting falls under the DPCI. In 2018 until 2020, I was appointed or placed as a section head, project-driven investigations, organized crime at head office at the level of a brigadier. I beg your pardon, commissioners, I jumped this one, 2017 to 2018. I got promoted, I was appointed as a brigadier, provincial head, SAPS Organized Crime Investigation, Detective Services in the Mpumalanga province. And then in 2018 to 2020, that's where I was transferred by the management to head office as a section head, project-driven investigations, where I was responsible to reinvent the OCTA process, or the organized crime threats analysis, and I was responsible to also reinvent the POX, Provincial Organized Crime Secretariat, as well as the NOX, National Organized Crime Secretariat, where we were dealing with the covert operations. So the crime intelligence will present some threats, and then when they present these threats, we will evaluate and then present before the National Organized Crime Secretariat for approval, monitoring, extensions, as well as terminations of those projects. I was traveling all over the country reinventing this, because after the establishment of the DPCI, these responsibilities went to DPCI, but now later the management decided to open up again the organized crime and commercial crime within the greater service, SAPS. And in 2020, commissioners, I was appointed to the rank of a Major General at the DPCI KwaZulu-Natal. I have attached my full CV as per Annexure S1 on my bundle of annexures. Commissioners.
And that's the position you still hold?
That is the position I'm still holding, commissioners.
Just clarify for me in terms of the hierarchy, if you are a provincial head of DPCI, who do you report to? Who's your media supervisor?
Thank you, commissioners. In terms of the provision of Chapter 6A, 17, Section 17, Chapter 6A, Section 17 of the Police Act, the provincial head of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigations reports directly to the national head of the DPCI.
So you don't report to the National Commissioner of Police or Provincial Commissioner of Police. There is simply not that line of reporting.
The line of reporting is directed by the Act. I will report to the national head, and the national head is accountable to the minister. If it is there in Section 17CA of the Police Act, the Chapter 6 that was inserted in the establishment of the Directorate. Thank you, commissioners.
So to be clear, you do not report to the National Commissioner?
I don't.
And the National Commissioner has no jurisdiction over any aspect of your employment?
I report to the national head of the Directorate. I've got no dealings with the National Commissioner. If the National Commissioner maybe needed something from me, he will go via maybe the minister or the national head. The national head will instruct me to do whatever I needed to do, and I will report directly this side. I'll report to the national head, who will in turn talk to the National Commissioner. I don't write to them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. The DPCI was established on the 20th of February 2009 in terms of Section 17C, subsection 1 of the SAPS Act 68 of 1995, called SAPS Act. The Directorate is comprised of the national head, appointed by the Minister of Police in concurrence with Cabinet, the Deputy National Head, the Provincial Heads, and officers appointed to the Directorate based on the required level of experience, training, skills, competencies, and knowledge. The DPCI is independent operationally from the South African Police Services. I omitted to put operationally there. because we still get our salaries and salary advices through them, the mother body. But in terms of the Glenister case, we were supposed to be fully independent, but we are not. We're still going there, but operationally we're independent. The DPCI is independent operational from the SAPS, and it is tasked to prevent, combat, and investigate and the investigation of national priority offenses. Section 17A of the SAPS defines national priority offenses as organized crime, crime that requires national prevention or investigation, or crimes which require specialized skills in the prevention and investigation thereof. This is what is contained in the Act. The national head determines whether a particular crime is a national priority offense for the investigation of the director. His determination, as circumscribed by legislation, Section 16, subsection 2 of the Police Act, and the policy guidelines set by the Minister in concurrence with Parliament. Section 16.3 of the SAPS Act provides that in the event of a dispute between the national head of the Directorate and the National Commission of Police or Provincial Commission of Police on whether a criminal conduct or an endeavor thereto falls within the mandate of the Directorate, the determination of the national head shall prevail. The Directorate consists of the following divisions in the province that I'm serving. There is a component called serious organized crime, which is responsible for the investigation of drug trafficking, human trafficking, kidnappings with a ransom, cash in transit, police murders, crimes against the state, to mention a few. The second one is serious commercial crime investigations that talks to addressing banking crimes, government frauds, and counterfeit, just to mention a few. There is a component called serious corruption investigations, which deals with public and private sector corruptions, as well as fraud and corruptions within the JCPS cluster. There is another component that is priority crime specialized investigation, which investigates cyber crimes, financial investigations, as well as asset forfeiture investigations. The next one is the Priority Crime Management Center, which is responsible for analysis of notebook profilings of people who are subjects of investigations, as well as the trust assessments in line with the national priority offenses. My role, the last one, Commissioners, is Corporate Support Services. This section is responsible for supply chain management, human resource management, as well as finances in KwaZulu-Natal province. My role as the provincial head. As the provincial head, I am directly accountable to the national head. I have been appointed for a period of 7 years, non-renewable contract. Maybe to add on this, Commissioners, is that I think I'm left with, we're in January now. 1 year and 6 months. Then I'll be warm up the stoop. Thank you, Commissioners.
So June 2027 is when your term ends?
End of July.
July 2027.
2027 is my last month in the service, and I'll be 61 years, 1 month.
Thank you.
Management of specialized investigations and operational support in the province of KZN, ensure the effective and efficient management of priority crime and analysis thereof, ensuring the operational support capabilities within the DPCI KZN province are functioning according to the relevant legislations and directives and policies, the management and implementation of strategies from National Head Office to ensure effective prevention, combating and investigation of national priority offenses, maintaining effective management information and strategic planning services within the DPCI in the province where I am employed, providing performance and implementation monitoring and evaluation reports to the national head. Commissioners, I thought I must also share this with you today. Success is just a little bit of them that myself and my management have managed to achieve through the strategies that we have employed in the province upon my appointment. Throughout, in March this year, I'll be 38 years in the law enforcement. Although there was a break in between when I left the police to the Scorpions, then I came back. Both combined, it's 38 years, 18th of March this year. Throughout my 38 years of service, I held a level of excellence in carrying out my duties. This is particularly evidenced by my achievement in the DPCI KZN under my tenure. I have elected to list this achievement as the allegations against me depict an unscrupulous senior officials when only the opposite holds true.
General, maybe before you proceed, just so that we don't go back to this, because now you're going to be discussing specific cases or crimes. What are currently as matters stand, what are the crimes that have been determined as national priorities? Because you mentioned in 18.1 that you are responsible for the effective, efficient, preventing, combating, and investigation of national priority crimes. What are those as matters stand now?
Thank you, Commissioners. You'll see in page 6 of my statement, paragraph 15, I've indicated, just to mention a few, drug trafficking, human trafficking, kidnapping with a ransom, cash in transit haste, police murders, crimes against the state. This falls within the component of serious organized crime, just to mention a few. I must indicate to the commissioners that, you see, the CITs, in around 2018, they were investigated by detective services, where we dealt with a project that was addressing the scourge of this cash in transit. But thereafter, the then acting national head issued a directive in writing to declare the CITs a national priority offense, as it is said, stipulated in the law. Hence, today, the DPCI is investigating these crimes. Over and above that, Commissioners, the other crimes is banking crimes, not this normal fraud, but the frauds that are above the value of 500,000, and then there are other elements that are listed in order to qualify. It's not only the value. Sometimes the value might be less, but you find out the way the crime was committed and the public interest and all those other factors. If they fall within that scope, then the DPCI shall investigate. You might find a fraud of 3 million. People will think, because the value is beyond 500, the DPCI must deal with it. It's not only that determines that. So there is a mandate that has been authorized by the retired national head that outline all these type of crimes. If one have forgotten, you go to the mandate, it will assist you. And then there's government fraud. We talk about the issues of where there is a fraud in terms of this procurement of people. People will come and tender certain things. Sometimes they submit fraudulent documents in order for them to be appointed as a service providers there. You have also counterfeit goods, and then those are one of the serious crimes, according to me, where they have an impact on the economy of the country. For lack of a better word, they say Hong Kong, the street language, but it's counterfeit goods. So the other ones is indeed corruption within the public and the private sector, as well as the JCPS. Over and above this, if in...
As well as the JC what?
JCPS cluster.
I'm terrible with acronyms. What's that?
Justice and Crime Prevention and Security Cluster. Commissioners.
Thank you.
I hope I've responded to the question of
you have,
my
thank
commissioner.
You.
Thank you. Thank you very much. the time till to date that I have also submitted as Annexure S2, we managed to seize and successfully stored a cocaine to the street value of 1,649,000,000, and a list of all seizures is charged as hereto as Annexure S2. I think it was the first time in the country, or even in the province, that this amount of cocaine, including heroin, was seized within the space of what I've been dealing with at KwaZulu-Natal. Of note, in November
Sorry, Major General, I just can we go to Annexure S2?
Yes, Commissioners.
And if you could just explain, because I think what you say in your statement now is to focus on just a few, right, in paragraph 21. Is that correct?
I'm listening.
Is that correct?
What did you say?
In paragraph 21, are you just highlighting a few?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and I just want to confirm that these that you're highlighting in paragraph 21 come from Annexure S2.
Correct, Commissioners. As well as Annexure S3.
As well as S3.
Sorry, were we not in paragraph 20? I see 21 deals with S3.
That's what I'm trying to understand, whether the few that are highlighted here are from S2 and S3, or only S2. Are you going to deal with S2, or do you want to just move on to S3?
Commissioners, the few that are mentioned here, as I indicated, it starts from paragraph 20 of my statement, as Commissioner Kumalo has indicated, correctly said so, and then it goes further to paragraph 21 with 21.1, 21.2, 21.3, which means it will be S2 as well as S3 in my bundle of documents.
Could we turn to S2?
Come again?
Could you turn to S2?
I am on S2, Commissioners.
Okay, so it says DPCI KwaZulu-Natal major heroin and cocaine seizures 2020 to date. I just want to understand who prepared this document and when.
This document, we normally have this type of things. The members will report, we keep a database of certain things. And then for the purpose of this commission, I requested my people to just say, give me this one and this one and this one, and then we confirm with everybody that is dealing with my statistics at the office and say, I want to talk about this and this one and this one. I've selected this one. It's me who selected it.
Okay, so this was prepared for the commission?
For the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Sorry, General, in that paragraph 20, you say the province seized and successfully stored. What does it mean, successfully stored?
Which means, I'm saying successfully stored, it means that we were provided with the storage facility of these cocaines by the management, because you will see at the lecture when I testify in terms of the theft of cocaine, there was a problem, but I'll deal with that when I arrive there. But for now, here on this seizures, we were assisted with the storage facility.
When you say successfully stored, it's not speaking to there were no losses of this.
Yeah, there were no. Correct, Commissioner. I think you assisted me. Thank you very much. There were no losses. That is the explanation.
All right. Thank you.
Of this successfully stored. There were no losses.
Thank you.
1,649,000,000.
And the 1.6 billion is made up of several seizures.
Correct, Commissioner.
Not just one.
Not just one.
All right, thank you.
It is a number of them, and then they are depicted in this S2.
S2.
General, please clarify this annexure S2, because on the first page, there is the DPSI Hawks logo, but then from the second to last pages, on your right, it's a SAPS logo. So I'm wondering, who did the seizures? Is it the SAPS or is it the Hawks? Or are you taking credit for the work of the SAPS? I'm just trying to understand.
Commissioners, when I do my presentations, mostly at the first page, it will talk about us, the DPCI. And then when we continue, we utilize the SAPS page, but it's us, the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation. So you'll see when we come, we'll tell you who we are, and then we continue. Hence, we are saying administratively, for some other reasons, we still decide. But hence, we have utilized this template for the presentation.
I couldn't help but notice on page 28 of the same document, it's SAPS vehicles that are there. So
page
28 and 30, for example.
Yes. Commissioner, you want me to respond?
Yes.
The DPCI, in terms of section 17, I think I talk under correction F. We are expected to be a multidisciplinary approach. That is the methodology we are approaching. So we don't work in isolation, alone, when we do our operations. We have other law enforcement, like your uniform branch, your combat. We don't have combat. We don't have uniform branch. We don't have crime intelligence. They are within the mother body structures. And then sometimes we also have our external stakeholders. So here, specifically, when you look at this party, there is also border policing that is a national component that we mostly work with at the harbor there in Durban. So those are, and also sometimes you'll find customs being part of the operations, because we have employed the multidisciplinary or integrated approach in discharging our duties in order for us to achieve our set objectives.
Thanks. So, Major General, I think we understand that, because the capacity comes from different parts of law enforcement in order to conduct operations of this kind. They're not small operations. So it's different components of law enforcement that are involved in the operation, correct?
We invite them. Not that they don't just become involved for the purpose of involving. Sure. We contract them to our operations.
So it's under your command?
Absolutely, as well as the operational methodology of the Directorate.
And so these operations that you've referred to here, including on page 28, are under your watch?
Absolutely true.
Thank you.
Commissioners, can I proceed? Paragraph 21.1 on November last year, we managed to seize counterfeit goods with the brand labels such as Gucci, Nike, and Adidas, worth of 53,772,837 rands at the Green Africa Container Depot there next to the harbor there. In December last year, we also seized illicit cigarettes to the value of 38,758,000 rand in a warehouse there in Pietermaritzburg. That is also part and parcel of KwaZulu-Natal province, and I'm saving that as well. I have offices there. In total, we have confiscated illicit counterfeit goods worth 97,330,000 rand, 837 rands. And then I attach my evidencing report as per Annexure S3. These are but a few of the achievements from 2020, Commissioners. I didn't want to add a lot of things. You shall remember that in July 2021, we have this insurrection in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Also, that operations was under my command. Even the cases are before the High Court as we speak. Those operations were managed and operationalized by my office. And we spent a lot of hours, so I don't want to waste time of the Commission by all the successes that the DPCI KZN has achieved. I just want to mention this few for the Commission's consumption. I have now I want to talk to the subpoena. Preliminary submissions, Commissioners. I have been implicated by Lieutenant General S.D. Kumalo, Witness X and Witness C before this Commission. I have, however, only received one Rule 3 notice which reads, "The testimony of Lieutenant General Kumalo implicates you in matters under investigations, in particular inter alia. Improper use of your position as head of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, KwaZulu-Natal, in that you leaked sensitive and or confidential and classified SAPS information or documents or caused same to be leaked to Mr. Vusumuzi Madlanga in a business partner of your son, Tato Senona. 1.2. Improper use of your position as head of the DPCI KZN to unduly benefit Mr. Madlanga and other members and associates of the so-called Big Five cartel. At the outset, I submit that these allegations above are malicious, void of truth, and amount to congestion. I deny having leaked any confidential information or using my position as the provincial head for benefit of Mr. Madlanga or the Big Five cartel. I look forward to providing my testimony to illustrate the aforesaid. Commissioners, I must say, I don't even know what is this thing called Big Five cartel. I only know Big Five in the country. If the commissioners want to allow me to say the Big Five that I know, I'll say it. But for the benefit of doubt and clarity, the Big Five that I know is an elephant, a lion, a buffalo, a rhinoceros, and a leopard. Those are the Big Five I know in the country. But this that is mentioned here, I don't know what are they talking about.
Are you aware of cartels that exist? Whether they are drug cartels or CIT or extortion, are you aware of those kind of cartels?
I know of syndicates that I have addressed in my province that are dealing in drugs. I know that we deal with a lot of groupings, that a group of people that are committing CITs on a regular basis. I know of a group of people that were dealing with the drive-by shooting, of which it was not part and parcel of our mandate, but it was a threat that was emanating in KwaZulu-Natal, that I approached the provincial commissioner with an operational plan in order to address that. He gave a go-ahead, then we stabilized that, and then we withdrew from that and continue with our mandate.
Are those cartels confined to the province, or do they have tentacles that extend beyond the province?
The ones that
you're talking about cross-border.
The ones that we have already addressed and we are currently addressing at my province, they are within the province. We don't have others that are moving out of the province. We have not yet identified people there, except in that investigations of the July 2021, where you'll find out there are people that are linked also from Gauteng, few in Free State, and then some, I think, to some extent, Northwest, if my memory serves me well. But other than that, the syndicates that I have dealt with and that I'm dealing with are limited to the KwaZulu-Natal province.
Thank you.
Just so we are clear, you do know what a cartel is? Because in your response, you only refer to syndicates as if it's something different from a cartel. So I just want to understand from you, you do know what a cartel is?
Thank you, Commissioner. I went and checked. Yeah, now I do know what is a cartel. I think it's a synonym of a syndicate. Thank you, Commissioners.
Is it, though, General? Are the two synonyms?
I believe so, Commissioner, that a cartel might be a synonym of a syndicate. That's my belief. I might be wrong, but I stand to be corrected. That's my understanding, sir.
I thought your seniors who gave evidence before you suggested that there is a difference, but let's leave it there. Thank you.
Normally, this word is utilized outside the borders of the country when we meet with other law enforcement. Here in South Africa, we talk about a syndicate. It's like when you say organized crime. There is a difference of a Z and a S. Here we use S when we say organized crime, but outside they use a Z. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks. Commissioner Chair, perhaps it would help if, Major General, you could just define a syndicate then for us, so we know that what you mean when you talk about syndicates.
A syndicate is more closely to what we call people who are committing organized crime. But according to my understanding, I'm just going to give you a description, not necessarily a definition to that effect. Is two or more people working together committing crime on a continuous basis. The main purpose is to have money and power. That is my description and my understanding of a syndicate. Commissioners.
Thank you.
Question 1, infiltration within the SAPS. Prior to addressing my knowledge of the allegation of criminal syndicate infiltration, corruption, and political interference within the criminal justice system, I deemed it prudent to discuss the manner in which the investigations within the DPCI are conducted. Criminal investigations within the DPCI and SAPS by nature rely on secrecy or for effective law enforcement. Confidentiality is indispensable to the operations as it protects the witnesses, undercover police operations, and intelligence. As head of the DPCI KwaZulu-Natal,
sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, again, it's just for clarification. When you say criminal investigations rely on confidentiality and secrecy, what would be included in criminal investigations? Would it include I presumably would it include a docket?
Remember, in DPCI, mostly the cases that we deal with, it's major case investigation. It might be one docket, but it can take us a year or two to complete. We call most of our cases major case investigations, and also project-driven investigations that are undercover operations. We don't disclose that. It is on a need-to-know basis. But you'll hear, as I'm continuing with my evidence, what the clear answer to what you have asked me now. It will be depicted in my statement, and I will talk to that. Maybe it will give you a clarity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'll wait for that. Thanks.
Yeah. As head of the DPCI KZN, I'm privy to criminal investigations that fall under the mandate or directorate. I am rarely privy to the particularities of investigations within other provinces led by my fellow DPCI heads, or investigations by the Greater Service, SAPS body, and or specialized interventions units such as the PKTT, the Political Killing Task Team, that it will be part and parcel of cost that cost us to be here today, one of the things that caused us to be here. In instances where I do gain knowledge of sensitive information, I think this will answer your question, led by the various heads, I gain the said knowledge through our DPCI National Project Committee Forum. And all the attendees are required to sign the oath of secrecy, even though we possess a top secret security clearance. Commissioners, even at the province, we have a provincial project committee forum that I am chairing on a monthly basis, and there we also sign the oath of secrecy, even though we possess the top secret security clearance. Also, external stakeholders like your Department of Home Affairs, FIC, NPA, they are required to sign that, and we keep record. The purpose of us doing that is to ensure that people are not going to leak this information. If you find to have done that, you'll have to face the consequences.
And to confirm, you have a top security clearance.
Mine has just expired in September, so it's in the process of being renewed. I've applied. I do have a reference number. I can share it with the commissioners if need be, off camera.
Okay, so
it expired September
25.
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioners, at the forum, you will find the attendance sometimes of the Deputy National Head and mostly the Divisional Commissioner, National Priority Offences Operations. Component heads, and then you will find external stakeholders, as I've indicated, Department of Home Affairs, National Prosecution Authority representative, and Financial Intelligence Center representative. You find crime intelligence representative there and DPCI provincial heads. We meet on a quarterly basis to present various project investigations. During these presentations, we are advised to conceal the identities of suspects or any information which may jeopardize the investigations. In that presentation, you won't see the names of the targets. You will just know the facts, what exactly is happening, but you won't see the names of the targets. We further have a DPCI WhatsApp group where we deposit successes of each province by the provincial heads. It's like when we're sharing those successes and backstories of our successes, and detailed information is never shared via this WhatsApp group. Taking the above into consideration, I cannot say that I am privy to any criminal infiltration within the criminal justice system outside of the DPCI KZN. I therefore possess no knowledge as to the business conducted by the Big Five cartel and the composition of this Big Five cartel. I do know the cases where police officials are corrupted by perpetrators of crime in my province. However, these are individual cases not linked to syndicates. I cannot discuss these cases as most, if not all, are presently under investigations and therefore before court. So to answer also the concern of the evidence leader, we do have single-facet cases, even though we don't discuss them in an open space. They remain within that component. Question number 2.
General, my concern with your response to this section of the question is you are dealing with sensitive information of investigations led by DPCI. You are not dealing, for example, with sensitive information relating to investigations by SAPs or various units within the SAPs, such as GCI Ops, such as, for example, the PKTT. So you're only answering part of the question, not the full question. And that's my concern. So can you just answer the full question?
Commissioner, I think in one of my paragraphs, I want to go to that one. I've indicated I am not privy to investigations by the greater service, I mean the SAPS in its totality. Then I gave an example, I included the PKTT. Even if they do any other task team or whatever, they have currently their own provincial organized crime secretariat where they deal with covert operations. I'm not part of that. I am not privy to those investigations. I was telling the commission here what is it that General Senona is privy to. But the rest that I'm not talking about, I bear no knowledge of that, Commissioner.
General, sorry, Ms.
Go ahead.
Yes. General, and I'm hoping this is just a clarification question because I know we're still in that territory. Say in paragraph 32, I can, however, positively affirm that there is no cartel infiltration within the DPCI KZN. Now, I imagine cartel infiltrators will not announce themselves. If you've got them already, they're not going to announce themselves that we are here. How are you able to make such a definitive statement?
Thank you, Commissioners. I bear no knowledge of that infiltration. So eventually, nobody, even the crime intelligence in the province, came and presented a threat that suggests to talk about the cartel infiltration of DPCI KZN, as well as our PCMC, Priority Crime Management Center, those that are dealing with the threat assessments that are emanating. That type of a presentation was never presented before me, so that I can come here and say, fully I agree. Then when I'm asked how many, where, how, and so forth, I must be able to respond to that. Here, I'm talking about that I am knowledgeable of. Yes. That I'm not knowledgeable, I can't talk about it, which means from where I'm sitting, there's nothing until I'm advised by my colleagues and say, we have picked up this thing that needs to be dealt with, and we shall deal with it.
Yes. Well, isn't then, and that's exactly what I was interrogating or checking with you, isn't then the correct statement to make, or that you should have made, is, I am not aware of any infiltrations in the DPCI KZN. It's a completely different statement to saying there is no such, because in your statement you say there is no such.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think is a human error in writing this language, English. Bear with me. I beg your pardon.
I accept that. You don't need to say more about it. I just wanted to be sure that I
think the statement that the Commissioner has corrected me about is the most correct statement.
Thank you. Thank you, General.
Thank you. I'm now going to talk about question 2, the nature of my relationship with Mr. Madlanga. Commissioners, I met Mr. Madlanga around Vusimuzi Madlanga around 2018, 2019, I think, around that year. And when we met, we were in Pretoria. It was a wedding, and for that matter, Commissioner Kumalo, it was my traditional wedding.
It was your own wedding?
No,
I'm not sure why you are addressing only me, General, but...
Well, you see...
So did you say that it was your own wedding?
For that matter, it's my traditional wedding. When I'm addressing the commissioners, and one of you is looking at me, my mind directly goes to... It's nothing sinister. I'm just afraid to address the chairperson because it's a justice, I'll make a mistake and I might be in trouble to say, I'm justice, sorry, so why are you calling me? But on a lighter note. As far as I can remember, it was at my wedding in Pretoria when we were doing this traditional wedding. After
So you say 2018 or
2018,
you don't remember when your wedding was?
I think it should be 2019 because I went and double checked to be correct.
You better
just
pray, your wife.
Just pray, General. I wanted to say exactly the same. I wanted to say just pray that your wife is not listening.
Commissioners, if I'm going to be punished for what I said and then it was wrong, I'll just bend down and then she gave me lunches and then I'll take it. So Mr. Madlanga was introduced to me through a relative of my wife whom she was dating at the time, and then they said he's the owner of CAT VIP Security Services. We exchanged numbers and then I happened to like him And then that day we never had to talk too much because it was my traditional wedding and there was a lot of people.
The language you use generally, you say, I took a liking to him and we exchanged numbers. Was there any particular reason for you to like him?
You know, Commissioner, in the location where we grew up, you know, when people, they are introduced to you and then they come humble before you, you will like a humble person, which means you know you will get respect. You won't be undermined or whatever. You know, there are people when they are introduced to you, you find a face that is so funny and then, yeah, hello, how are you? But if a person come and say, hey, hello, my brother, hey, Puti Gunjani, we are pillars, those type of things with respect, that thing makes a mark. There is a verse in the Bible, James chapter 4, verse 10. It says, humble yourself and the Lord will lift you up. That's the vision of where I come from. You don't have to make noise. Just humble yourself.
General, just so that we don't go back and forth, where was this area? You say in Pretoria, was it in a township? And was this the first time you saw Mr. Matlala, or you had seen him before, but you were only formally introduced in 2019?
It was the first time. It was in Mamelodi.
Perhaps for the record, what I said was Sesotho for you like humility.
I didn't hear that, Commissioner.
No, I was translating into English the bit about Rawi.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. So, you'll realize that I've never met Mr. Matlala because he's a business person. My relationship with Mr. Matlala is not because he's running a security company, he's doing this, I am the head of the Hawks. Even there, I never said I'm head of the Hawks. I was introduced as the husband to my wife. And my wife and him happen to share the same surname.
But he may well have been told that you are head of the Hawks. You don't know.
Somebody there, but not
on the
me.
day, yes.
It's no secret.
I can't say people, those who knows where I'm working, but you'll realize, I want to bring this under your attention, Commissioners, that I have seriously huge successes in my province. I don't like media. I don't sell myself. People, they started to know me too much and my faces because of this commission. A lot of people didn't know who I am or what. Some might know the name, but they can't know the face. That is how I live. I don't like media. You'll realize most of our successes, I'll be standing there. If you know me, you'll see me from behind while the provincial commission is addressing the media. I run away from media because I don't like publicity. That's one of my principles. Thank you, Commissioners.
Sorry, just you said that your wife shares a surname with Mr. Matlala. Are they related?
I don't want to answer that question.
Why not?
No. It's not parcel and parcel of this. I don't want to.
But they share a surname, but you don't want to say whether they're related
or not. They share a
or
surname. I don't want to answer that question.
But she knows Mr. Matlala?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners.
General, if I may just ask, I think it's not sufficient for a witness who's asked a question to simply say, I don't want to answer the question. I think you have to say more. For what it's worth, but I think you have to say why you don't want to answer that question.
Commissioner, I hear what you are saying to me. Earlier, one of the commissioners said, hey, I don't know what will your wife said. She also said that. So I don't want to create animosity in my own house by talking about the line of their relatives and so forth. Hence, I also say he was dating a relative of my wife. So this thing of related and what, I beg your pardon. I'm begging for your mercy. I do not want to respond. Allow me not to respond now, but if I'm compelled, I will request to seek legal advice.
Yes, that's fair. If you're compelled, you will deal with it at that point. But I think what has to be understood is witnesses are not free to choose questions that they answer or don't answer without providing an explanation. The question of your explanation is a question of weighing whether it's a good enough explanation. We leave it at that point, or we make a pronouncement about it at some point. But I think the point that I wanted to make is witnesses don't get to pick and choose what questions they answer. You are here to assist the commission. And if you are asked a question that you have concerns about answering, you do have an obligation to say more than I don't want to answer. That's the only point I wanted to make.
Thank you, Commissioners. You see, I will say by virtue of the surnames, I don't think there is a relation there. By virtue of the surnames, I don't think so, because, and then number two, he was dating a family member of my wife. But now, when you look at the issue of the family member, maybe they might have been related through that relationship, but this one of the same name, I don't know.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, Commissioner.
That's fine, General. I asked because you offered that evidence. You are the one who said that he shares the same surname.
Yeah, they share the same name.
That is why I asked that question. But I think, there's a relation, you said. And so that answers the question, and we can move on.
Commissioners, our relationship developed over the years, and I consider him as a friend or younger brother because he's younger than me, Mr. Madlanga. You know, in our culture, once we started to develop a relationship, we don't know call each other friends, or what we say, call each other brother. Uputi. So, as can be seen from the WhatsApp chat, Mr. Madlanga and I will regularly check in with each other and would arrange to meet whenever he was in Durban or I in Pretoria. Our meetings were purely that of a social nature. I must make it plain to the Commission that since the beginning of my tenure at DPCI, KZN, Mr. Madlanga has never been a subject of investigation within the Directorate since 2020 when I took up office till today. And Mr. Madlanga, further to that, the name Vusimuzi Ket Madlanga has never been mentioned at the National Management Forum as well as the National Project Committee Forum. Also in my PPC, my Provincial Project Forum. So I also sit in the Provincial Management Forum. Sometimes we'll discuss certain things there in the management. Only generals will sit there with the Provincial Commissioner. If there are things that are giving the Provincial Commissioner a problem, he will mention them there. But that had never happened in my presence. I therefore possessed no knowledge of Mr. Madlanga's alleged criminal ties and or activities. That is my response to this question 2 in relation to our nature of relationship. I want to go to paragraph 37, that goes to WhatsApp exchanges, December 2020 to 2025 January. As stated above, Mr. Madlanga and I were friends and met on a regular basis. I did on occasion meet with Mr. Madlanga to advise him on security matters concerning the CAT VIP security. That is the only business by then I knew that it was vibrant with him. I have further connected him to third parties to assist him that are specializing in risk management to assist him. As a young brother sometimes will say, look into the issues. If this will happen, how are you going to mitigate the risk in order for you to move on with business? These communications are dated 25 December 2024, as well as 28 December and 15 January 2025. Concerning a third party, I had referred to Mr. Madlanga that conducts this risk assessment. I cannot give further details concerning the finalization and of details of the contract because the assessment of the risk assessment for CAT VIP protection as the contract was between the two people, Mr. Madlanga and a third party. I only assisted by introducing those individuals. When I come to the question 3...
sorry, just to clarify on that point. So your assistance was only to introduce Mr. Madlanga to...
a third party.
And you did not participate in any discussions regarding the risk assessment of his company?
What I did, I advised him he must, from time to time, do a risk assessment. I'll give you an example. Maybe you understand what is a risk assessment. But once then he developed interest in risk assessment. What do you mean? And then I will explain several things to him. Then I said, there is so and so. I will make sure you meet with him so that he can assist you with this. And then if you are happy, you can continue with that type of a contract with that person, if I can answer your question.
Okay, so I just want to, what I'm asking is, you introduced him to a third party?
Yes.
How did you do that? Were you at a meeting?
No.
How did you do it?
When he agreed to meet, I did call that man, that gentleman, unfortunately, and then I called Mr. Madlanga, and then I said, this is the guy who will see you. When can he come and where? And then he said he can come to the offices. And then I told that one, I said, this is the number of Mr. Madlanga. I gave it to him, and then I said, continue. Then when I was in KZN, they did it here in Pretoria.
Thank you.
Question 3, forwarding of the disbandment letter to Mr. Madlanga. As it is known by the Commission that the letter has been leaked as of 1st of January 2025, I merely forwarded the letter to Mr. Madlanga as it was garnering the attention of many, including myself, on social media.
General, Ms. Hassim, I know you said no probing questions, but perhaps what I want to ask may, in a sense, cross the line, but I just feel I must ask the questions at this stage. General, to your knowledge, was the disbandment of the PKTT a subject of interest to Mr. Madlanga?
We were just sharing information that was on social media, and
Can you please just answer the question directly? Was this a subject of interest to Mr. Madlanga?
I do not know if it was a subject of interest to him, Commissioner.
So did you forward the letter to him of your own accord, or had he asked for it?
It was on my own accord, Commissioner.
Of your own accord. And if you were not aware that this was a subject of interest to him, why would you have done so?
I was not aware, but we are sharing things that are on social media that are garnering the attention of many. It garnered my attention, and we just share. I just forwarded it to him, and then after I forwarded him, I just left it there. We never had to discuss a lot of things here, and then because we were sharing issues that are on the social media.
And how many friends do you have? Are you able to tell? I know it's a difficult question.
How many?
How many friends do you have? I know it's a difficult question. You may say 15 or above 15 or whatever.
It's a difficult question, as the Commissioner has said. I don't know how to answer
But
that.
quite a large number.
Come again?
But quite a large number.
It can be. I doubt.
You have very few friends.
Come again?
You have very few friends.
Yeah, not too much. And then colleagues is not my friends. I have colleagues, then I have friends.
And did you forward this to any of your other friends?
I believe I might have. I believe I might have, because I might have not sent it only to him. I think I might have also talked to my colleagues about this.
No, sharing, not talking.
Or sharing.
Did you share?
I believe I might have, Commissioners.
You don't know for a fact that you did?
No, I believe I might have. There's no way that if this I shared it with him, there must be 2 or 3, 4 people that I've sent to. I believe I might have.
Friends.
Friends.
Who also had no interest in the disbandment of the PKTD.
Of course, yes, Commissioner.
And if you go back to your records, do you assure me that you will be able to show me or show this commission the other people that you shared the disbandment letter with, the other friends that you shared the disbandment letter with? Say tomorrow, if by tomorrow I say, please show us the other friends that you shared the disbandment letter with, friends that had no interest in the disbandment of the PKTD. Would you be able to do that?
Hence I said
by tomorrow.
Hence I said I believe, Commissioners, because the phone that I was utilizing by then got damaged, and then I could be utilized again. And now I had to get another instrument.
So you would not be able to show us?
I checked on this one. I asked people to check for me, because some of these things they sit there on the iCloud, but even the one to show me that I've sent it to him, I can't find that one. I only relied on what was said to me by the Commission.
One last question or comment. Would you agree if I suggest to you that it is very strange that you would have shared with Mr. Madlanga a letter disbanding the PKTD if you did not know him to have any interest in the subject of the PKTD? Would you agree with me that that's very strange?
I do not agree, Commissioner, because I was not aware he's the subject of investigation by the PKTD or any other unit within the South African Police.
Exactly my point. Exactly because you did not know that, so you randomly share the disbandment letter with him.
As I'm saying, is this an unfortunate that they found it in his own gadget, and when they found it from his gadget, unfortunately, when I received the documents from the Commission, I tried to recuperate, to try and get the information to see is him and who. But unfortunately, I couldn't get that. But I disagree with that. I sent it to him because there was knowledge of me knowing that he is being investigated. I didn't know, Commissioners.
I said nothing about him being investigated. I have not said anything. I'm just focusing on you not knowing him to have an interest in the PKTD, and you randomly send or forward to him the disbandment letter. I have not said anything about an investigation.
Commissioners, when sometimes you send things to your contacts and everything, it's not the issue of we do have an interest in this thing. We just share randomly just to talk about things, current affairs, that, hey, this is what. But the issue of that I send it with ulterior motives, no, it's not there.
I don't for once hear you say, and you then discussed it as a matter that's out there, as a current affairs matter, as it were. I do not hear to say that at all. You just forwarded.
Commissioner, you will see.
Nor do I understand that he responded to you forwarding this to him responded in the sense of it being a social or a current affairs matter. I don't see that anywhere.
Commissioner, with this so-called screenshot messages, you will see that there will be some things that we have exchanged, but without talking thereafter, or even before. It is not a new thing that specifically for this one we never said and discussed certain things. There are at some stages where we will talk, at some stages we won't talk.
All right, thank you. Thank you, General.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry,
Mayor, before you proceed, maybe just to clarify, before you forwarded Mr. Matala this letter, this disbandment letter, had you, before that day, had you shared with him and forwarded to him anything else to do with SEP's business or SEP's affairs?
Thank you, Commissioner. I can't recollect now before, but maybe as I've indicated earlier that I had a problem with my gadget. It was going to help me a lot to recollect, because when you do things with your friends or family and everything, it is difficult to keep track record exactly. Now it is an unfortunate situation. I'm sitting here, given these documents by the Commission, presented by the witnesses, and then I'm trying to recollect all these kind of things. And then wherever I remember, I will respond. Wherever I'm struggling to remember, I'm just afraid to come and say I assume, or it is my opinion 1, 2, 3, because I want to assist the Commission to give only facts, not assumptions or speculations. I want to assist the Commission. I didn't come here to speculate or assume or think this is. I came here to come and give facts that are to my knowledge. That are not to my knowledge, I won't be able to provide. But it is an unfortunate situation. I wanted to go through my gadget and get that, but unfortunately.
So is the short answer to my question that you don't recall whether you shared with him any information that relates to the SEPs before this letter?
Yes, I don't have a recollection of that,
okay.
Commissioner.
Thank you.
Sorry, Advocate Hassan. Generally, you say in paragraph 34, we're still on page 13, you considered him to be a friend/brother. You're talking about Mr. Matlala. Next paragraph, you say, I would regularly check in with each other and we would arrange to meet whenever he was in Pretoria. I was in Pretoria or Durban, whatever, and our meetings were purely social. So during this social discussion, so when you were checking with him regularly, did he tell you that there was a raid at his house on the 6th of December 2024?
He did inform me there, I think in March, around there, if I recall.
March of what?
2025, if I recall, when we were talking.
Yes.
But in our discussion, he never informed me who are these police.
No, I did not ask about.
I'm just
who.
giving a further explanation.
All right, that is day one of the evidence by Major General Lisija Sinona, who is the KZN Hawks head, and already having to explain the nature of his relationship with Vusimusi Kat Matlala and answer why he had referred to Matlala as a brother. And this morning we've heard that relationship was a lot closer because they met through family members. The inference is that there was a relationship that Kat Madlanga had with one of Major Sinona's relatives, and that's how they met, and that's how their relationship grew. So we are expecting to continue to hear more evidence from him. For now, let me take you to the news desk for your latest news update.
Thank you, Kathy. On the top stories, March and March charged with incitement to commit violence, and SA Weather Services issues a heatwave warning. For SAFM News, I am Onde Lambana, and a very good morning. We'll start with news just in. Organizations including Lobby, March and March Movement, Operation Dudula, and the Umkhonto weSizwe Party have been charged with incitement to commit violence. Meanwhile, March and March Movement founder Jacinta Ngobese Zuma has denied any wrongdoing in leading the protest outside the Durban's Addington Primary School in Durban. She was speaking outside Point Police Station, where she and her attorney husband, Xolani Zuma, are waiting for details on the charge which they believe it has been laid against her following the protests. Ngobese Zuma has accused the police of using stun grenades and a water cannon to disperse protesters last Friday.
Is standing outside a school picketing and demanding for the rights of South Africans to be protected, instigating violence. If that is what they call it, then I call on the whole country to be very violent. If standing in front of a gate and saying that 26 at the moment children are sitting at home because they don't have money to go to school. If me standing up and saying that that is wrong is instigating violence, then I am instigating violence.
Amanda! Amanda!
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has ruled that KwaZulu-Natal Hawks head Lesija Sinona must make himself available until he completes his testimony. The committee's chairperson, retired Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, made the ruling in Pretoria. This after Sinona's legal counsel raised an objection about an agreement reached with the commission that his client would only testify today. Justice Madlanga says Sinona is compelled to appear before the commission for as long as he's needed.
What he does with his leave arrangements is his business, and he will have to attend to that. The ruling is general. You are required to be here today and tomorrow. And if tomorrow, for whatever reason, we reach a point at which we must continue beyond tomorrow, you are required to be here beyond tomorrow as well. Do you understand that?
The Palabura and Pabeni gates at the Kruger National Park have been reopened. This after heavy rains caused floods which severely affected parts of the park in Mpumalanga and Limpopo. The park has also announced that some of the shops at the camps are expected to be reopened soon. The Battalion Bush camp will be reopened tomorrow and the Mubani Rest camp on Friday. SANParks spokesperson JP Lowe.
The Taba and Pafuri Rest camps, including Pafuri border post, remain inaccessible, while Palabura gate remains closed for day visitors. SANParks strongly urges visitors not to remove barricades or attempt to access closed roads, as these measures are in place to ensure visitor safety and to allow for continued infrastructure assessments and recovery work.
Extreme high temperatures are expected over some parts of the Northern Cape, Free State and Northwest. The South African Weather Services has issued a warning for a heat wave which is expected to persist until Friday. The temperature in Appington in the Northern Cape is expected to hit a high of 40 degrees Celsius by this afternoon. Authorities have advised residents to take precautionary measures. Meteorologist Lehlohonolo Tobela.
A heat wave with persistently high temperatures is expected in places over the Northern Cape, stretching into the Free State, as well as the southern parts of the Northwest until Friday the 30th of January 2026. Appington is expected to peak at 40 degrees Celsius this afternoon. They are at 36 and Kimberley at 37 degrees Celsius. The public is urged to keep cool and make sure that you drink a lot of water and remember to use your sunscreen.
The United Nations says it is now absolutely critical for the Gaza ceasefire deal to be fully implemented. This after the body of the last Israeli hostage was recovered from the enclave. Earlier, the Israeli military said it had identified the remains of Eren Gavili, a police officer killed during the October the 7th attacks. Sigiev Kalfon, a survivor of Hamas captivity, has reacted to the return of Gavili's body.
There's a kind of relief. I can now look forward. I couldn't look forward before, as long as I knew there was still someone there, the last one, who was the first to go out and fight, and he was fighting for me eventually. He was fighting to protect me, and he was the last one to stay in Gaza. We could not remain indifferent to that, and now there is a kind of relief.
Recapping the top story, organizations including Lobby, March and March Movement, Operation Dudula and the Mkhonto Sizwe Party have been charged with incitement to combat violence. I'm Undulambana for SAFM News Headlines at 11:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
The Whites are convinced that with top-class football, they will all smile on the field.
Cross up towards Calvert-Lewin! Yeah! Dominic Calvert-Lewin! Terrific finish at the far post, but what a cross from Nonto, and Calvert-Lewin in place to do the rest.
On the other side, the Gunners of London believe it's time to show real character.
Saka plays another one in. There's the header! And there's the goal! And Gabriel Jesus is off the bench, and has he won it?
This is the Premier League. Experience Leeds United versus Arsenal FC on Saturday 31 January at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Sanibonani dumelang absheni lochani Mzansi igama lam nguzanele untomdodwa izinhluzalta, but you can simply call me Uzanele Mthombeni. I am your new host, khona yi Ekaslami, the TV show that profiles some of your absolute faves, celebrities. I'm talking when an actor, musician, bona, politician, benekant zonke bonke zikhona, and we take them to Ekasi and find out who exactly they were before all the glitz, glam, lights, cameras, and action. Oh, bye, Uzi.
Ekaslami, Tuesday at 6 on SABC 1. Mzansi for sure.
So you thought you were building a business in this economy, but day by day, somehow it grew. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore, it's who you are, and you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
Eskom customers, change is here. Eskom is upgrading old electricity meters with modern smart meters, giving you clarity, control and confidence. With your new meter, you'll be able to see your usage in real time, giving you the power to manage your electricity with ease. Smart meters are accurate and help Eskom respond faster to issues. Please allow our authorized installers access to install your new meter. For more information, visit our website, Eskom, redefining for a better future.
Stellies are serious about winning on home soil. However, CRB want to celebrate victory on their flight back to Algeria. This is the CAF Confederation Cup. Stellenbosch FC versus CR Belouizdad this Sunday, 1 February at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 2. Also available on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The Billy Goats are hunting for 3 points in their own backyard to find a suitable position in the top half, while Wolves believe only victory can unlock the door to comfort. This is the Bundesliga, football as it's meant to be. Catch FC Köln versus VfL Wolfsburg on Friday, 30 January at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
January is for intention setting, less noise, more meaning. So say yes. Yes to beauty, yes to culture, yes to slowing down, and yes to Montreux Jazz Festival Franschhoek, where Montreux meets Africa with curated global and African music in an intimate setting. Don't miss it. Get your tickets at the end of January and make this your yes moment. Montreux Jazz Festival Franschhoek. Say yes. Visit www.mjfsa.com for details.
Welcome to it. This is season 1 of Playlist happening right here at Malok, and believe me, it's a party.
Set your reminder every Friday, 9 p.m. Playlist at Maloko is in the building.
The Billy Goats are hunting for 3 points in their own backyard to find a suitable position in the top half, while Wolves believe only victory can unlock the door to comfort. This is the Bundesliga, football as it's meant to be. Catch FC versus VfL Wolfsburg on Friday, 30 January at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. The leader of the country trusts their top-of-the-range plan will silence 2016 champions. However, Masandawana say they will delight Cabo Yellow fans. This is the CAF Champions League. Do not miss out on Al Hilal Sports Club versus Mamelodi Sundowns on Friday, 30 January at 8:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC2. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
The Whites are convinced that with top-class football, they will all smile on the field.
Cross up towards Calvert-Lewin. Yeah! Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Terrific finish at the far post. But what a cross from Nonto. And Calvert-Lewin in place to do the rest.
On the other side, the Gunners of London believe it's time to show real character.
Saka plays another one in. There's the header! And there's the goal! And Gabriel Jesus is off the bench. And has he won it?
This is the Premier League. Experience Leeds United versus Arsenal FC on Saturday, 31 January at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The Talking Point with Kathy Motlatlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
After 11 o'clock, welcome to the third hour of The Talking Point. Of course, we've been watching developments out of the Madlanga Commission and tuned in to the testimony by Major General Lesija Sinona of KwaZulu-Natal, who is the Hawks head in that province. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause in as far as the Madlanga Commission is concerned, and then take it to Parliament's ad hoc committee. And this is where we are now hearing evidence from civil society groups and members of the public who have written to the ad hoc committee. So this is the public participation process. And today is the first day that we are seeing this aspect of the ad hoc committee's work. So we'll go live to the ad hoc committee and just to understand how this phase of the committee's work is going to run. But I think also important to hear what the reflections of civil society to Parliament will be. Remember, it is the ad hoc committee's report that will ultimately be put before the House. It will be tabled and adopted, and that then is going to have legislative implications in as far as these allegations are concerned. So the ramifications are far-reaching, especially with the power that Parliament has or holds as the legislative arm. So let's then take you to Parliament, the committee chair now behind the mic.
The arrangements for tomorrow should be very smooth. We made that decision last week that these organizations must appear here today. And given that the committee does no longer have the luxury of time, some of the apologies are inexcusable. Yes. If the whatever delays that are there, those delays were supposed to have dealt with expeditiously. The committee does no longer have time. If we make agreement that something must happen, it has to happen. The committee met last week, Monday, and made that decision that if we don't get Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, these civil society organizations must be made to appear today and to come and know at the 11th hour that there were problems with logistical arrangements does not make sense. And yeah, it's something unpardonable, but there is nothing we can do. We'll have to live with it. The organizations that are here with us today, honorable members, are the Accountability Now, which is already here, has arrived. And then we also have African Policing Civilian Oversight Forum. The two organizations are respectively represented by Advocate Hoffman and Mr. Sean Tate. And then we will also expect Institute for Security Studies to arrive at around 14 hours, represented by Mr. David Bruce, and possibly Gun Free South Africa by Dr. Stanley Mapos. So in the event one of the latter two arrives in the afternoon, we will have 3 or 4 of them appearing. And I must also indicate to you and the members of the public that these organizations are not appearing here as witnesses. They are appearing here to make their presentations, to give the committee more insight into the criminal justice system. They will share with us their observations, which will be very enriching to members of the committee. And my expectation is that they will also make recommendations on how they think the South African criminal justice system can be improved. What are the legislative and policy interventions that may be necessary for us to have a resilient and effective, efficient and responsive, and even accountable and ethical criminal justice system in the country. So they will not be required to go through the oath administration process. But before I hand over to the advocate to formally introduce them and make remarks, I see the hand of Honorable Nomvalo is up.
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. It's up for 2 things, Chair. The first one is that we want to register our great feeling of unease by this amount of apologies. We can't weaken the work of this committee towards the end. So it must be reprimanded, Chair. And I think in future, apologies from each organization should not be more than 2. At least if there's 1 person, because we also have organizational commitments. At least if there's 1 person, that is why we're saying members, organizations which have more than 1 member are more privileged, because when 1 is absent, 1 should be available as a basic principle. That is the first one. Then the second one, Chair, is that we're hoping to have a meeting to deal with housekeeping issues yesterday, because we don't want to be ambushed on the position of this committee about the approach on the Paul O'Sullivan issue. We're hoping that we will be given an update yesterday by the legal team on how far they've gone in pursuit of our previous position on the matter. Because the last position we took is that Paul O'Sullivan must be subpoenaed. So I don't know if that is happening or it's not happening. The reason why we're raising this here and now is because in terms of the time that we have, we're only left with 2 weeks. So we don't want to be told on the 11th hour that we have not done the work of this committee, when by that time we would not be left with any option. So we want to be given an update, Chair, on what is transpiring on the matter, so that if needs be, we can also advise on the way forward. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Breitenbach.
Thank you, Chair. Mine are housekeeping issues as well, so I'll save it for a housekeeping meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Sangwen.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chairperson, I want to agree with the notion that you would not want to weaken the work of the committee as we are on the last mile. But I think that we must not agree to things that are not provided for in the rules of Parliament. There is nothing in the rules that says a party can only have so many apologies, it can't have apologies. And I don't think that anybody exercising their right to submit an apology when they're not able to attend a meeting should be reprimanded. So we haven't had a tradition of coming to this meeting, accepting apologies, not accepting apologies, reprimanding others, not reprimanding others. I think parties must be allowed to make their own internal arrangements and ensure that members, as they see fit, are able to submit apologies when they need to, Chair. And on the issue of, I know it's not my place to answer, Chair, but on the issue of Paul O'Sullivan, I thought the committee had taken a very clear decision that says that in the event that we get to the day where we need to finalize, and Mr. O'Sullivan, having been subpoenaed, has not yet appeared before the committee, then the committee would then still be able to supplement their report when he eventually comes before the committee. I just don't want us to create impressions that there are people who are more vested in having Paul O'Sullivan than others. I think it's a resolution of the committee, and I trust that when we have a housekeeping meeting, we'll be updated. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Honorable Kalabanat.
Thank you, Chair. Could you just clarify the witness for Thursday and Friday, Brown Makotsi? Is he not coming at all? Is he coming? Has he been rescheduled? What is the situation there with him? Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Nombalo.
No, Chair, we can't roll a red carpet for unjustifiable excuses. We maintain the position. It's wrong, especially towards the end of the work of this committee, to have apologies from all members of the party. We don't want to be part of that kind of tradition. Even if you continue with it, you must continue knowing it, that as the MK party, we don't endorse that kind of practice. At least if there's one member that is not present, then other members must be present. Whether that's a political right, people were making all sorts of commitments here when we were beginning our work. Others were even saying they are prepared to work on weekends. Now the work is here. People are giving excuses. What is happening here today, Chair, is undesirable. And we're condemning it as the MK party to say you can't have a committee with many members who are not present in the committee. So if you endorse it on your own. We're not part of it. That is why we're always here as members of the MK party. As on the issue of Paul O'Sullivan, yes, we are more vested on it. Want Paul O'Sullivan to come and present himself here in the committee, and if he doesn't come, he must be subpoenaed. He must be subpoenaed. That is our position as the MK party. Thank you.
Honorable Skosana.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to add, that the issue of Paul O'Sullivan, this white supremacy, this attitude of undermining this core committee, and for us not even to be like kind of a kid gloves should not be allowed here. If he has to be summoned before we finish this ad hoc core committee, as we don't have any more days, we must be. I wanted to use another word, Chair, but let me reprimand myself. But indeed, this white supremacy should not be tolerated here. All the witnesses were here. He must appear here. If he doesn't want to, let's do everything in the book to have him here. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. No, it's fine, honorable members. I saw your hands were up and I decided to give you chance to speak. All the things that you have said here are our decisions. And those decisions have not been changed anywhere. I think the legal team is working on those matters and will accordingly give a report to the committee. With regard to attendance of meetings, it is not for me as the chairperson of this ad hoc committee to respond to your absence in this meeting. It's not my responsibility. Nobody must ask me a question why members are not here. I have not elected you to be here. And I have not sent any one of you to be a member of this committee. You have been elected as public representatives by South African voters and sent here by your parties. It's not me. I don't have a member in this parliament. I don't have a fiefdom here. So as to how you conduct yourself, how you attend meetings, and how you are answerable to South Africans who voted for you, it's your choice. And I would agree with members who say that we started very well and we must have the same endurance towards the finishing line. I'm just saying that from today onwards, I can't be answerable to apologies and absenteeism in the committee. And Honorable Nomvalo, in as much as I hear your sentiments, I'm not going to reprimand anybody why they are here or they are not here. I can't do that. I have not sent anybody to Parliament. So when we came here, sworn in as members of Parliament, my belief is that we made a choice. And the choice that we made is to serve. And there is nobody who is going to be reminded about the choice that they have made. Honorable Barnard, I think the legal team, together with the relevant section in Parliament, were still working on the matters of Mr. Brown Mkhodzi. The report that I got this morning is that the statement is about ready, but there are security issues that he is raising, which the security section of Parliament must attend to. And once those matters are sorted, they will give us a report as to whether they are able to reach an agreement or not. Yes, but what Honorable Nomvalo and Honorable Breitenbach are saying, they are right that these matters belong to a committee housekeeping meeting where we should be able to deal with all of them exhaustively. Thank you so much, honorable members. Can I hand over to Advocate Arendse to formally introduce our guests and make any remarks that he thinks are necessary for the proceedings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, honourable members, and a formal welcome to our guest, Advocate Paul Hoffman, Senior Counsel, Director of Accountability Now, and also lead counsel in this seminal cases of Glenister 1 and 2. Is there three? Okay, 3. And Sean Tate, Director of the African Policing Civilian Oversight Forum. Both made very helpful submissions to the committee for its consideration, especially on policy matters and proposed amendments to the legislation that speaks to the terms of reference of this committee. As you pointed out, Honourable Chair, they are not witnesses before you. I know Advocate Hoffman has sent us an unsigned affidavit. I'm not sure whether you want to swear them in, nevertheless. But I present to you both Advocate Hoffman and Sean Tate. I think, Paul, you first. Thank you. Yeah, I otherwise have no other comments to make. Perhaps at the end, maybe pose or ask a few questions with your leave. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. What is your advice? Because where I'm standing, the impression I have is that they are not witnesses. Can we proceed without administering oath?
I think if they don't have any objections, then perhaps we should swear them in. There may be factual questions or issues that either they raise or one of the honourable committee members raise, in which case we want to confirm it for the record, and perhaps if they don't mind or have any objection, I would propose that they get sworn in formally, Chair.
Advocate, let's proceed because they are representing organizations. They are not coming as individuals who would have made submissions to request appearance before the committee. Is that fine with yourselves to proceed without Advocate Hoffman and Mr. Shontate? Are you fine?
Yes, no, that's perfectly in order. Thank you, Chair. I can help. The affidavit that Accountability Now submitted to this committee in September last year has actually been properly attested, and in its original form, it is with the Secretariat of the committee. The version that has been made available is simply a copy of the electronic version that was made available at the same time in order to enable the Secretariat to circulate the affidavit among the members of this committee. And that document, which is the basis of our submission, has been summarized, supplemented by a note which I prepared yesterday, thinking that I would be limited to an hour, which is very difficult for any lawyer to stop after just an hour. But as I understand it, the Secretary has an electronic copy of the note which compresses the 36-paragraph, 8-page affidavit into a 3-page document. So, and I'll speak to the latter document. if that suits the committee.
Now we can proceed. How much time do you need to make a presentation?
Well, when I came here, I thought that I would have an hour. 35 minutes of that hour have gone already. But what I propose to do is speak to the notes for about half an hour and then take any questions which the members of the committee may wish to direct.
I think the best will be to allow both of you to present, and then we can interact. Is it fine?
Thank you, Chair. That I think is probably the most sensible way to go forward.
Okay.
So members of the committee should have the submission, which is an 8-page document, and then notes on the submission, which is a 3-page document. And if they haven't got it yet, they will be able to get it from the Secretariat. Suppose the main question that we have to ask ourselves at this stage in the proceedings is, what is the mischief that this committee is addressing through its deliberations, through the evidence that it's receiving, and now through the submissions being made by civil society organizations and others? And our submission in this regard is that the nub of the problem is that the criminal justice administration in South Africa is dysfunctional because corruption with impunity is rampant in the land. And that is what this committee is going to have to address from the point of view of Parliament, which in our submission will involve the revision of the criminal justice administration's capacity to deal with corruption effectively. And we rely, in making this submission, on the decision made by the majority judgment in Glenister 2 in 2011, in which the joint majority judgment of the Deputy Chief Justice Moseneke and Justice Cameron was to the effect that our law requires, our law demands is the word that they used. Our law demands a body, not several bodies, but a body outside executive control to deal effectively with corruption. Now that decision ought to have been translated into law, into legislation that this Parliament was, well, not this Parliament, but the previous Parliament was ordered to consider and to put on the statute book within 18 months of the judgment being handed down in March 2011. The matter was indeed debated in that Parliament then, and amendments were effected to the legislation that gave rise to the Hawks. The Hawks are currently on their 3rd incarnation from a legislative point of view, but they continue to struggle when it comes to dealing with corruption effectively. And the reason for that is not hard to find. The Hawks are not a body outside executive control. The reason why we are here is because a member of the executive, the Minister of Police, saw fit to issue a directive purporting to close down the Political Killings Task Team, which by its very nature is a body that deals with corruption. Political killings happen because hitmen are greedy and because those who engage the hitmen are hungry, or should I say, crazy for power. And that toxic combination is a form of corruption which has not been addressed at any time since the law requires a single body outside executive control to deal with corruption. I think I must pause here with the first part of that statement by the court, when they say a body outside executive control. They are not referring to a collection of bodies, but to a single body. Now, this is not what has been the case in the past, nor is it the case today. The multi-agency approach to corruption in South Africa has been the approach since the new South Africa dawned. And so we have hubs, and we have task teams, and we have cooperation between various entities, but we don't have a single body outside executive control that is tasked with the business of effectively seeing off the corrupt in our midst. And this has very deleterious effects in relation to the trajectory of South Africa. The economy suffers because of it. South Africa ranks number 80 in Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index of 180 countries with a score of 41. This is below the average, as well as well below the ratings of the faster growing economies of Rwanda and Botswana, who rank at 57. Corruption is undoubtedly preventing the rapid economic growth of which South Africa is clearly capable and which is desperately needed to lift half of the population out of poverty. So if we approach the work of this commission, this committee, on the basis that it is necessary to adjust the system that is in place, then we have the guidance of the Constitutional Court, guidance which has not found its way onto the statute book yet, and guidance which needs to be on the statute book sooner rather than later. You will recall that the reason for the Glenister litigation was that the Scorpions, or Directorate of Special Operations, as it was officially called, were disbanded in 2009 following a resolution of the ANC that was taken at its Polokwane conference in December of 2007. You've heard evidence from the acting Minister of Police before this committee, and he has conceded that it was a mistake to close down the Scorpions. And the reason why it was a mistake is because the Scorpions were a prosecution-led body which sought to counter corruption on a single agency basis, and which was far too successful for its own good in dealing with corruption in high places among the politically connected and among the politicians of the day back then. So the Scorpions were closed down, and they were substituted from an investigative point of view by the Hawks, or Directorate of Priority Crime Investigation, and they were also left in the situation where their prosecutors remained, if they were prepared to remain, in the National Prosecuting Authority. And a lot of people, even to this day, even in high places, believe that the National Prosecuting Authority is an independent body. Now, that is not the case. If one looks carefully at section 174 of the Constitution, 179(4) of the Constitution, you will see there that there is a reference to the National Prosecuting Authority operating without fear, favour or prejudice. But if you read the rest of the section, it's very clear that the Minister of Justice has final responsibility over the National Prosecuting Authority, and that the Minister must concur in any policy decisions that are taken by the National Prosecuting Authority, which in effect means that the Minister of Justice has veto rights over whatever the prosecution service may want to do at any time, and can steer the prosecuting authority in the direction that the minister wants the prosecuting authority to go. It gets worse than that. The National Prosecuting Authority has no control over its budget. Its accounting officer is the Director General in the Department of Justice, an employee of the minister. And the effect of not having control of the purse strings within the NPA is to hobble it from the point of view of trying to effect changes that may improve its efficacy and effectiveness in the fight against crime in general, and in particular in the fight against the rampant corruption with impunity, which we suggest at Accountability Now is the reason for South Africa's backward trajectory in relation to getting on top of the criminality that is unpunished, well rewarded in South Africa since the closure, the mistake of closing the Scorpions down back in 2009. If we go further into the innards of the legislation that pertains to the National Prosecuting Authority, it becomes plain that the phrase "without fear, favour or prejudice," which many of us for a long time thought meant independent, is actually a reference to impartiality. You can see this if you compare the phraseology that is used in relation to the judiciary in Section 165 of the Constitution and in relation to the Chapter 9 institutions in Section 181 of the, or sorry, 180 of the Constitution, which make it clear that impartiality and independence are different things, and that to assume that the ability to act without fear, favour or prejudice implies independence is a mistake. So, having regard to the finding of the court that a body, a single body, outside executive control is required in order to deal with the issues around countering corruption effectively, we
noted the disappointment that was expressed due to apologies that were given. Some of the organizations that were supposed to be present for this process have not been able to make it. It seems like that has largely been the result of logistical issues. While that is unfolding, the Madlanga Commission Major General Lisija Sinona in the hot seat today, and things in that particular commission or inquiry are heating up quickly. He's having to explain the nature of the relationship between himself, his son, and Ket Madlala, who is alleged to, so his son here is alleged to have been doing business with Ket Madlala, and also explaining why Ket Madlala was speaking to him about his personal financial problems.
You are listening to the Madlanga Commission, live on SAFM.
So I gradually decided to not and interact with him as previously we did. So
Sorry,
So-
Major General. You say this definitely played a part in my culminating decision to cut all contact with
Yeah,
him.
I must say, since he was arrested, I cut. I've never even visited him to prison. I've never even tried to access him through a third-party person or whatever. I just cut.
After his arrest.
When he was, I saw it on the news, he's arrested, and then I just cut.
Right.
And then,
But
because
up until
this-
that point, you continued to have contact with him.
Look, up until that point, he will call me, I will call him, but my way of talking to him was very wary since I saw this article, because I asked him about it.
Since 5 March.
Yeah, I started to become worried about his conduct.
So your contact with him, you
It
cut
did-
contact with him because he was arrested.
Look, it did.
But let me finish my question. But you continued to have contact with him until the date he was arrested, but you say your contact was now very, with caution.
Maybe, it was cautionary, 100%. So it was cautionary, but after his arrest, I cut.
Okay. And you say you discussed the allegations with Mr. Matlala. When did you discuss those allegations with him?
I will have to refresh my mind on after I've sent this. Immediately after I sent him this thing, we were on calls. I was telling him, you know, this thing, why are you doing this, whereas this company is yours? What is the problem now? Why is there changes all of a sudden of these things? You know, those type of questions you ask a brother. And then you started to become worried. I told him, I started to become worried that this thing, why are you changing? I think this thing is the changing of a directorship of his company. That is the thing that started to worry. If you have a contract with such a big contract and then you decide to change the directorship, what is the cause of that?
And it was because of
That
that.
is where I became cautionary and started to say, hey, Mo, here, I need to start to reverse.
Okay,
Yeah.
I get that. And just again to confirm, because you do say it, but just to confirm, it was that media article that made you concerned.
It made me very much concerned, yes.
Right. Thank you.
And you also say, General, you grew wary of his innocence. Do you mean his claims that he was innocent? Or what do you mean by that?
Come again, Commissioner?
You say you grew wary of his innocence. What do you mean by that?
I was worried about him changing the directorship. Why? Why do you change the directorship if...
My focus is on innocence. What do you mean by that part of the statement? Do you see this is 72, 1, 2, 3, fourth line. You grew wary of his innocence. Do
it's in
you
your
mean,
statement,
do you mean
paragraphs.
innocence
Yes.
or his claims of innocence? What do you mean exactly?
Commissioners, because that article talks about fraud.
Yes.
Fraudulently obtained tender. That's what prompted me to grow wary of his, it's an article. Then it disturbed me and disturbed my...
My focus is just on the language. I want you to please explain the language. What do you mean by what you say there? It's not a complex
It disturbed
question.
me, Commissioner,
Yes.
regarding that he got the tender straight, but why this changing of the directorship?
Okay, I'll leave it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. As I indicated, I discussed these allegations with Mr. Matala telephonically, and of course the word that is giving us some little bit of a challenge, wary of his innocence. This definitely played a part in culminating my decision. I want to go now to question 6, Commissioners.
Go ahead.
Question 6, message on the 6th of March 2025 regarding General Mkwanazi. Mr. Madlala and myself frequently converse about current affairs. This message is nothing more than two friends sharing news clips, articles about matters in the media, like we were sharing that other one. And now here it is evidence that on the 29th of April, there was a message that he also sent to me that was on the news, according to him, and then he forwarded me the message and everything. And then fortunately, I did my response. I can't recall, maybe if I'm allowed to check if when I sent him this thing, he did respond or what, but I don't remember him responding or us having a call. Sometimes you will send a message to a person and then he doesn't read or respond.
What was it?
I'm also doing that.
What was it about, General?
This is a clip is where the General Mkwanazi, after he presented in Parliament, and then he addressed the media. ENCA, he addressed the media there that he didn't apply for the Hawks Head because it's not going to benefit him. The type of a media briefing clip statement is just a picture of him and this narrative there, of which we just share things. Because a lot of people, I must say, admired General Mkwanazi and myself when things were happening. The country was saying, hey, KZN is doing the right thing while we were fighting stubborn crimes in the province together, partnering together, applying the integrated approach. And people were saying, hey, you and him, General Mkwanazi, are working very close and nicely. They had their own wishes, people. So sometimes you will share certain things with people to say, ish, I so wish. But unfortunately, some of the wishes doesn't come true.
Thank you. You may continue, General.
Thank you, Commissioners. Then next question is forward of Ishmael Molot, Ramos Nangis affidavit. Yes, indeed, I agree. I did forward this one to Mr. Madlala. The main reason is that, let me first start by saying, has been leaked to the media. This article was leaked in the media on the 10th of March 2025, and I did send it on the same day. And when I forward same to Mr. Madlala, I also have attached there a News 24 article, evidence in the faucet, Annexure S5. I therefore deny allegations that I may have leaked sensitive and or confidential and or classified information to Mr. Madlala. I merely sent it to Mr. Madlala to warn him, as this gentleman, Mr. Nangi, we, as the province, my office, have arrested and charged him for kidnapping, attempted murder, and extortion of a businessman where a ransom of 35 million was demanded. So, to elaborate further on this one, the only thing here, I believe I was complying with the sort of proactive policing, because when you look at the statement of Mr. Nangi, the address, it shows midstream Centurion. And I am aware that Mr. Madlala is staying in midstream Centurion. Here I was saying to the brother, be careful, because there is a person of this character in your vicinity whom we have charged with regard to these charges. Be careful, you, your kids, and your wife, as you are moving around. And eventually, that is what I was doing to him. And if you look into of the police, we are required to do proactive to prevent possible crime that might happen because of this character of this person. So I was just proactive.
We will for now.
I know you will return. I just want to clarify.
Sure, I have a clarification as well, but go for it.
So I just want to understand you. I think earlier on you spoke about you generally discussed current affairs. Which parts are proactive policing?
Look, this was also a current affairs on media. However, this one had an additional thing that was trying to addressed in relation to kidnapping of ransom. It was on the news. We did share. It's also press commissions. However, to a fair extent, I was just highlighting this. Be careful. It's like if I know where the commissioner is staying, there is a correct, and then we are close to our friends. I will one day look at this complex of yours. They are jamming the cars this way. Be careful when you go there. When you lock the car, make sure you test the car is locked before you go into. That is the ideal. That is what is happening here.
Thank you. Yes, Ms.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Yes, so this is what you do, is you warn people. I mean, this is, I think the law is different. You might say, be careful, this type of crime is happening in your area. But what you did here was you gave Mr. Madlanga details of the alleged crimes and what Mr. Nangi was being investigated for. Isn't that so?
When you look at the document that you gave us, I saw and have done the investigation, and is still the head office taken over the investigation. Now, what is happening is that when I did that, I just send it to him. I believe that they put this thing on the public domain, because you'll see there was also high court papers that they wanted to sue the police and everything are there. So it's not the things that are within my office or whatever. It's things that were there in the public domain. I just sent the thing there.
But you say it was to warn him because this individual had been arrested for very serious
and he was
crimes.
Out by then.
And yes, by now he's out. But when you only forwarded this to him on the 10th of March, after he was released.
He was released.
But when was he? But you knew about this before the 10th of
Which
March.
one?
This particular individual and the investigation into this individual.
I knew,
and the arrest of this individual.
I knew about the arrest. I knew about the case when it was withdrawn in court in January. But, sorry, the address of him, I was not aware of his address. I picked it up when I was reading that article. Then I said, Ish, by the way, then I sent it.
That sent the information to Mr. Madlanga to say...
Because it was...
David.
Yeah, it was there. That's why I sent it. I must tell the commissioners that I will never take information of the police that is in custody of the police.
And that's when you then sent the information to Mr. Madlanga to say...
Because it was there.
Here's the affidavit.
Yeah, it was there on the public domain. That's why I sent it. I must tell the commissioners that I will never take information of the police that is in custody of the police and share it with any other person. I will never do that. It is not correct to do that, and I will never do that. When I took office, I signed an oath. I will never do that. When I joined the police, I signed an oath. I will never do that. I've never done it. It's not going to happen, and it will never happen up until, even if I die, I'm able to do it in the grave. It will never happen.
But you did share this with Mr.
This
Madlanga.
one, I shared it because it was
already,
in the public domain.
Because there was a media article already.
Yes, thank you. It was there on the media.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I understand. So we will come back to this. I just want to make sure we get your...
no, I provided you answers.
Can we just clarify what was shared exactly? Was it the newspaper article or the affidavit attached? I'm just not clear what General shared with Mr. Madlanga. If you can just clarify that, please.
Commissioner, that document was a bit big. I sent it through it is a newspaper. I think is an article that was there. I think these people presented it somewhere and then it was leaked into the media. When you open it, you'll see an affidavit and everything. I just send it to sensitize this one. And further to that, there is another one to show that it's them who leaked this thing on the news. The other person who was arrested with them, he went and he was interviewed in Mpumalanga through a local, radio station there, and his statement, he also published it there, one of the accused persons on this thing. So these things, they were published by them there. I just forwarded it. I didn't take it from. When you look also at the case number that is depicted there, there is a date stamp of the police. There is a case number that is depicted there. And then when I look at the date stamp, it talks about Bedford View, something like that. So you saw that. Now, if you saw that, it's good. Bedford View is where? There's no Bedford View in KwaZulu-Natal. Bedford View is here in Gauteng. This General Senona does not have access in those cases in order for him to leak information as it is alleged here. I do not have access. My profile on the access of the cases is limited to KwaZulu-Natal.
The annexure, Commissioner Khumalo, is in Exhibit Bundle File 1 at page 65, and it's about 220 pages long.
And also, I believe that if you look at that document, there were people like General Mkwanazi. Let me rather not mention a lot of names. There were police officials there, I think 5 of them, if not 4, who are listed in the High Court applications, and all those things were attached there. So someone, somewhere, somehow might have leaked this thing that we came into to see, and then I did send that thing. I must tell you that there is a High Court applications against the police by these individuals. There is a civil case that is underway as we speak here. And then I'm just worried, commissioners, that I don't want to elaborate too much on these things. But I am not listed on the issue of the civil claim of these things. Other people are listed there. Thank you, commissioners.
We will return to this, but is there anything else you want to say about, from your perspective, about this particular incident, this investigation?
Which investigation? Against
this individual, your paragraph 74 and 75.
I said head office, the PCI, took over the investigation. It was in March. They took the entire case dockets and everything. Okay. So they are continuing with the investigation with an understanding that they want to place it back on the court roll because it was withdrawn due to certain technicalities.
You don't wish to expand on that?
Please.
This was an investigation that was under your command, isn't that so?
As the provincial head, yes.
Okay.
And you know the organigram of the hawks at the province is a general. General does not necessarily read dockets. It's a strategic position, if I may say so. But it is. And then you have brigadiers. I have 5 brigadiers under me, and then 1 colonel. 1 brigadier deals with serious organized crime, another 1 serious commercial, another 1 serious corruption, another 1 priority crime specialized investigation, and then another 1 is corporate support services, and then a colonel who's dealing with priority crime management center. So these people, they are responsible to deal with operations at a unit level where we have colonels who are leading the units. And under the colonels, you have lieutenant colonels who are team leaders who are supposed to give instructions and give guidance into these dockets. So, Mena, I sit at a strategic position. Thank you, commissioners.
This was an operation under your command, yes?
It was, the investigations was within my office, but component, serious organized crime.
Yes, but it's under your, you've already said that. So we'll come back to it. I just wanted to give you an opportunity yourself if you wish to say something more. You can continue.
Question 8. Message is to Mr. Madlanga, dated 24 April 2025, Ray Kumalo. This saying that when am I taking him or her to that office in order to lodge his complaint. Now, this screenshot was erroneously sent to Madlanga, and I proceeded to call him at 10:30 after I sent this to say, Mr. Madlanga, things sent to you by mistake. So please don't entertain or did that. But this is a critical information that this state was supposed to give to General Kumalo, and it involves his office. Mr. Madlanga, that thing was sent to you by mistake. So please don't entertain or consider it. I did that. But here, this is a critical information that this third party was supposed to give to Lieutenant General Kumalo, and it involves his office. So it is not within my area of responsibility. So I took this person, this third party there, and the third party was interviewed by General Kumalo, and then I left it. I left it. I never even inquired about any progress because it was within his space of responsibility. The next one is question 9. Contact details of Mr. Tele, 14 May 2025. Yeah, indeed, Mr. Madlanga requested me the telephone number of the former minister, General Tele. It is a common practice that he was having the contact details of General Tele. He told me, I don't know what happened to my phone, I don't have this number. Innocently, I sent it. I didn't even ask questions because I knew they were talking. I knew he was talking to the minister. So I sent it, and then I didn't see anything wrong in that. And I didn't ask why, what are the reasons you are looking for these contact details. I think now I want to go to question 10, the Potchefstroom drug theft. Commissioners, on the 22nd of June 2021, a captain from Crime Intelligence, Border Security, contacted our offices in Durban regarding a drug-related information. The information related to the alleged transshipment of suspected cocaine with a container at the Isipingo depot. Isipingo is not far from the harbor. It's just a short distance. Information was often exigency nature, and members of my office together with ORS is that the border policing that are posted there at the harbor. They proceeded to the depot to inspect the container. Warehouse security and staff were also present for the inspections. Upon inspections, the team discovered 27 canvas bags were found within the container. Each bag contained around 20 bricks of cocaine, each brick weighing 1 kilogram. The bricks of cocaine were wrapped in a black and yellow plastic detonating the TikTok and Jaqua logos. The total mass of the bricks amounted to 541 kilograms and a street value of 200 million. The BCI members proceeded to Ispingo police station to book and store the exhibits of cocaine. They were informed that there was no storage space for the housing of these exhibits. DPCI would have to search the alternative storage space. However, the exhibits could be booked into the SAP 13 register at Isipingo, SAPS, and they signed them off because the SAP 13 clerk wouldn't want to take them as a result of the storage. In the search of the storage, the team responsible for the seize of the trucks, they contacted the Amanzi Mtoti Forensic Service Laboratory in bracket, I put the meta post Cs fell under the Detective and Division Forensic Service Division. So Colonel Kuzwayo from the section head of chemistry at the forensic laboratory refused to accept the exhibits as they had no storage space for them. One of the reasons that she gave is that place was flooded previously, and then they said they don't have a storage facility to store these drugs. Normally, these drugs will be stored at the forensic science laboratory. Then I was advised by a brigadier in my office who is responsible for this type of investigations that there was a secure storage facility at our offices in Port Shepstone. Offices with a strong room walk-in safe. Safes such as this are difficult to break into and are ideal for the storage of this type of scissors if we have this kind of challenges. I then recalled that the Port Shepstone offices had previously and safely stored a large quantity of mandrax and hashish compressed dagga. I have attached an article on the mandrax bust as Annexure S6. Due to the above, I agreed that the exhibits to be stored at the Port Shepstone offices, and then I have informed my supervisor at that stage, Lieutenant General Lebeya, about the incident and the storage. Lieutenant Colonel Preslow, the unit commander of that office, the acting actually, arranged for the exhibit to be stored in the strong room, walk-in safe, aside from the unit commander. Only Captain Leroux and Warrant Officer Van Lockenbeck and another one, Warrant Officer Pinar from that office, knew about the nature of the exhibits stored there. I want to go back to, or maybe when I finish at the end, I will talk to that S6. If you look at the S6, commissioners, you see there are people on that picture. I do not want to call their names. Please allow me. And then if you zoom that picture, there at the back, you see who's there. This drug bust took place in, I think it's July 2018. And the value of this drug bust was 254 million. 54 million over the one that was stolen there at our offices. These drugs were stored in this place. This place is the same place where this 541 kg was stolen into. This is the storage facility. When you look at this faces, people that are depicted in this picture is senior management. And it happened before my time. But I don't want to talk about the names of the people on the picture, but where they are, where this picture is being taken, is exactly the place where these drugs were stolen. I just want to bring that under the attention of the commissioners. Because it is not the first time these drugs are stored there until the investigation is finalized. You know, it is a pity I couldn't find another one for the hashish compressed dagga that was also placed here until the investigation was finalized. So, allow me to proceed. I wanted to talk about this. Maybe offline, I'll be able to tell you who is who in this picture. The names, maybe you will know. But
General, are you emphasizing this to tell us that that previous event or storage gave you a sense of comfort that there would be nothing the matter, even if you were again to store there?
100%, Commissioner.
Thank you.
General, sorry, the date you wanted to emphasize, if you go to page 102, because the photo is on 101, and then at the top of 102.
Yeah.
I thought the point you wanted to make was this was before your time, and that date is the date that we see in line 3 on page 102. Line 3 on page 102. Do you see the top of the page?
Yeah, there's one name that is short here.
And then there's a date there. I thought you wanted to emphasize the date and to say this was before your time.
It was before my time. I indicated it was July 2018.
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner. So these names that are appearing there, there's one name short. I'm not. Please allow me not to mention it. But you can see, if you look deeper there at the back on the picture.
Sorry, Major General, why don't you want to mention the name? This is a media article, it's available on the news,
but
so I'm just interested to know what
the media article, Commissioners, does not talk about this other name that I don't want to mention. But if I'm compelled, I believe also I'll be protected if I'm going to mention that name, because the Commission, we must assist the Commission, and the Commission must also be able to protect us.
You are not suggesting that there was anything improper about this, are you? I mean, this was the storage of drugs, and the picture concerned the fact that drugs had been found, and the people depicted there were there because of the drug past. Is that not so? Nothing improper about it. So I guess Ms. Hassim's point is, what's your problem with mentioning the names, or what's your issue?
Okay, if I'm requested to mention names, if the commissioners are saying so, I will gladly do so.
It's more wanting to understand why you do not want to mention them, especially if you accept that the context of just sketched is correct. Do you accept that the context is correct?
It's correct, Commissioners.
Then
allow me to mention names.
All right, thank you.
The people on the picture, 101, you'll see on your far right is General Sithole, the then National Commissioner of Police. Next to General Sithole is the Minister of Police, General Tele. Next to General Tele is the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal, Lieutenant General Kwanas. Next to him is Lieutenant General Levia, the retired head of the Ox. This one who's putting a mask over him, I can't determine who is this person.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I mean, this is a good news story, isn't it?
Of course.
Okay. Thanks.
Of course. Commissioners, all of access to the floors where the walking safe was situated was granted only to cleaners, administrative personnel, and members of the DPCI working at the offices. All the safe keys were given to me with the main key. Look, those type of safes, they have a key and a spare key. For the purpose of safety, I took it upon myself to take these keys. I am having a safe at my office that not one person will be able to remove it on his or her own. And then I kept those keys locked under that safe. And I also, during that person, I also informed DPCI personnel when I took up office, and also on that day. When I took up office, you will visit all the offices, Commissioners. And when you visit all the offices, you will also give your vision. What is it that you want to see, and what is it that people must do? Among others, I verbally gave this tasking that offices must be visited between 1800 hours and 12 o'clock midnight. And then another person must visit 2 o'clock in the morning until between 2 and 4. Our members, they will be placed on standby. We signed a garaging authority to take the state vehicles to their premises. This is the practice that I was doing while I was the unit commander here in Pretoria, so that if there is anything that threatens the safety of our offices and the dockets that we are carrying and so forth, we need to detect it at an early stage. We can't say it will never happen, but we need to detect it at an early stage. And then after doing that visit, an OB entry to that effect, it needs to be done. must be done. On the 23rd of June, between 800 hours and 1500 hours, as well as 24th of June 2021, between 0857 and 1410, the investigating officer who was assigned to investigate this drug bust came to my office and he signed for one key and then of the safe where the drugs were stolen. The proof of the aforesaid is attached here to and marked annexure S7. So the purpose of me keeping the case I've already explained.
Sorry, before you go to that, you said he took out one key, but in your statement you say he booked out the safe keys.
Is a typing error.
So that's incorrect. You want to change that
Is a typing error.
So you would like to change that
Key, because the other one was left with me.
Okay.
So they were going there to take some samples, because during the bust, the forensic science laboratory told us, and I know is a fact, they don't go out to this drug bust. They come out if there is a clandestine laboratory where the lab is active. Whether a person is arrested or not, they come themselves there, they process the crime scene, they wear their regalia there, they will take samples. But with this one, they didn't. They say, we're not coming, you must bring the samples to us for analysis. The purpose of the IO to get the case, it was to go there and get those samples and ensure that these things are properly sealed in the seal bags and everything, because I think when they went to store these things, it was late in the afternoon. So I want to talk to the theft, the actual theft. After hours on the Sunday 7 November, at about 10 o'clock, we have a captain there who visited the office and is working there to collect some documents, and then he said he noticed a strange electric smell as if within the building. He proceeded to check the top offices, according to him, and he found everything to be
what does electricity smell like?
Smell like electric smell. You see, when the cables are coming into negative and positive, they meet. They will cause a fire, some sort of spark, a fire, and then that kind of a smell. That's my understanding, Commissioner.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. So, and then he left, and then he said he thought the smell was as a result of a load shedding that was there. And then around 11 he left. 1400 hours, another member came, and he did not smell anything according to him. He proceeded to the office, and then without checking the bottom section, and then he left. On Monday, the 8th of November 2021, at 0600 hours, the unit commander arrived and he went into his offices. His offices is on the top, these safes are on the bottom. So when you go to his office, there's no way from there to go to his office. You go from outside, and then he will enter from that side. There are stairs that are going higher up. And then he said he found this strange, as all offices' lights are to be switched off, and then that time the lights were on. And then he said on the same date there was a warrant officer whose office was broken into, and then he established that his office has been broken into. And the warrant officer reported this to the Lieutenant Colonel, who was the acting unit commander. Lieutenant Colonel proceeded to inspect all the offices within the building and found that the Hawkins safe has been broken into. Not only had it been broken into, but the seized cocaine stored therein was stolen. The theft was reported to me, and I in turn reported it to the national head of the directorate, as well as the provincial commissioner and the provincial head of crime intelligence. Then immediately I proceeded to the crime scene, commissioners. Upon my arrival, I observed that the perpetrators gained entry into the offices by means of a hardware next door.
Hardware store?
Hardware store. Our offices are next door. it was a hardware store. It has changed now. It's offices of another department. Now, but this side, it was a hardware store. It was closed and everything. So I paused.
The hardware store had an entrance into your office?
No.
How you say they gained entry into the offices?
I'm about to explain that.
By means of a hardware store next door.
Through the hardware store, if I can rephrase that, by means through the hardware store. I want to now explain my observations in full. Maybe if I may be allowed to do that, then I can respond to clarity-seeking questions. Commissioners, upon my arrival, this is my observation. I'm going to outline it in full, although some of the things you won't see them here. When I arrived, I realized that when you're parking in front of the office, the hardware is on your left. The chain and the lock of the hardware was broken. Was broken. And then after that, we realized that the perpetrator.
What chain? What chain is this?
Is a chain that they utilize to
lock the door.
Lock the gate. Just
gate,
not the main gate.
All right.
Yeah, it's a thick, chain that was cut open as well as the lock. Then, from my observation, I could see that the perpetrators of this crime entered. They went there inside the hardware. From the hardware, from the gate is about maybe 50, 60 meters. I don't have the exact meters. And then
to the actual building.
Inside the hardware yard. And then there's a fence, a wall and a fence. And then they jumped through that fence. You see, the fence is like here, and then our offices are here, the hardware is this side. So if they came inside here, they jumped over here and break a window here.
Is the window, is that the storage facilities window?
No.
Hardware window?
Is our office's window, office that is occupied by one of our warrant officers.
Okay, all right.
And in that office there was a desktop and some other valuables of his and the police staff and cases. They broke that window, and then if my memory serves me well, I think they were butlers. They bent them, and then they came into his office. In his office, door was locked. Then they broke the office door. When you go out of the office door, just 2-3 steps on your left, there's a door, and that door lead you, is a passage if you go inside there, where there is this, I think it's 2 strong rooms, these safes. We normally call them strong rooms. And that type of a strong room, the thickness of the door is about 20 milliliter. 20 milliliter, like this.
Millimeters.
Millimeter. Thank you, Commissioner. The thickness is like this. It's very thick. So I have observed and established that here, the people who came here have a specialized skills. They specialized in cutting open the safes. Because if we talk about the issue of the load shedding and everything, they had ample time. And
please hold your thought. You are at the point where you are talking about the people being specialized. I just want to take you back 2 or 3 steps. What would have necessitated going through the premises of the hardware store? Why would the people not have just gone through your own offices in Port Shepstone?
Commissioner, I don't know why have they decided to come this side, but later we established that there was at the front door on the ground, there was some sort of a frittling. That door is a magnetic door. and then I think it also have a lock where you must also use a key to open it. So we established that there was a friddle. It was a bit friddled, but they decided not to cut it open and everything. Instead,
I guess what I'm trying to understand, I know perhaps it changes nothing. What I want to understand is why not go over your wall and then to Officer Pinar's window or wherever else to gain access? Why the hardware premises?
I believe they wanted to, because after they broke that gate, the chain of the gate,
yes,
they pushed it. It was pushed almost half open. Just a smaller space was left, and it is a street here.
Okay.
Is a street here. If you break here in front, any person who will pass there will be able to pick you up. That something is not right here. So if you go inside there, I'm afraid to use these words, they wanted to also be not to be seen quickly.
Okay, Commissioner. Please go back to where you were. These people had highly specialized skills.
Yeah, yes. Because it's not an ordinary person who will come and know that I'm cutting this safe here and then I will be able to open it. That's my observation. And further to that, the way this thing happened, I also came to a conclusion that it was not 2 or 3 people, it's a group of people. Because 541 kilograms of cocaine, 5 people will never take everything and go away. And they must have a proper transport to transport these things. And then I believe they might have also have people who were guards. And from there, after they broke, they opened, they threw those things. When I approached the passage of the safe, there were a lot of black powdery substance on the floor, a lot of that. And then you could see that the bags, the exhibit police bags that these drugs were packed into, some of them we saw, I think 2 or 3 from that window where they came in, which shows that these people, not one person came in, it's several of them who came in through that window, because any other place was never broken into. They took these drugs and exited where they've entered. Then when I observed with my naked eye, I couldn't see any footprints or palm prints on the entrance where it was broken. So, commissioners, one cannot do away with the fact that these people who came to steal these drugs, my heart is still bleeding. Now it's bleeding, it's pumping. My adrenaline is starting to change because this thing happened under my watch and it will never be erased in my mind. It is an indictment on its own. So what happened there, someone who knows that place and who knew these things were there sold us out. And then it is my plea and prayer that the investigation team be successful to arrest this perpetrator so that they can come and tell us who gave them the information and how and why did they do this, what happened to these drugs. As I'm processing the crime scene, the crime scene management came from the province to come and process the crime scene. They process, they obtain a photograph and they do fingerprints and everything. Then I said, we are the complainants, commissioners. We can't be complainants and investigate that the district in that area must assist us with an investigator. We will assist to try and get things. I tasked my people to look into the cameras around the vicinity and everything, and to start to do those things. And then I brought, sometimes there are certain strategies, I wouldn't want to make them public. Some people in our country will know, oh, this is what they are doing, then they will avert So I don't know if I'm worried to just expose our strategies. Please bear with me. I will just be vague, but if needed be, I will come and explain properly. So we did everything there. There's something called cell phone dumping. I'm not going to explain it. We did that. I brought the people, and then I took my people to go there. We have people that are dealing with this thing of footages. I'm just worried to use the exact name that we talk about when we talk about these things. But while we were busy with that, what I did, I wrote a letter. I think my letter is, let's check, that's what? Yeah, it will be S9 and S10. A docket was open, it was investigated by the district office, and then I gave a team to assist with the investigation. While we were busy with that, I wrote a letter in compliance with the provision of the Act to subject all the personnel at the Port Shepstone offices to polygraph tests, as well as all the people who were involved in the seizing of these drugs, as well as those who assisted, because you can't just transport cocaine with only 4 or 3 people. You must have a contingent of people, because what if you are attacked? Because it happened a lot that I pay from my office after these other seizures that I talked about earlier, pay from my office to get the combat teams to transport the drugs to Pretoria. Now, while I was doing that, the national head of the directorate, he approved the subjection of these members to polygraph test. Maybe one might say, why is your name not there? I can't do it, Commissioner.
I actually wanted to ask why did you not offer to also be subjected to the polygraph test?
The Act doesn't say I must offer. It must be the national head who, my supervisor must subject me to that. It is not a common cause to subject yourself.
But the point of the matter is you wanted all the people that were aware of the storage of the drugs to be subjected to a polygraph test.
Yes.
You did not need to have the head to subject you to it, so you could have offered for that to be done for transparency, so that these officers know that he himself has also subjected himself to it. Why did you not do it?
I hear you, Commissioner. It never crossed my mind that I must also include myself. In my mind is that if I have to do that, my boss will do it, will instruct me, because even myself, I don't have the authority to do that. I apply, he approves according to the Act. So,
thank you, please continue.
Thank you, Commissioner. Even if when you see my SC10 is, I think, an additional letter of some people that were supposed to go through that, polygraph test in relation to that. And you will see there was a, okay, SC10. And then when you look at S11, a team was established by national office. There is a name list there of the team that was established. One member was from my office who was placed there. But what I saw at the later stage, the member was no more working with the team. The reasons why, I don't know, because I thought he was working with the team.